is the athletic director for UNC. He also happens to be the head of the tournament selection committee. Now, it's being reported by a number of outlets that Cunningham had a significant bonus incentive, at least $70,000 to get into the tournament, arguably more if they advanced, with more incentives on the way. And I want folks to let that sink in for just a minute. Of the 111 brackets that were projected pertaining to North Carolina, UNC was only in 27 of them. This stinks at the highest level. Now, when pressed on why the committee left WVU out, Bubba Cunningham, once again, the AD, the school that deprived WVU of the slot, blamed the injury on a WVU player being out, Tucker DeVries. But we know this doesn't pass the smell test, and the WVU, I believe, went 13-10 with DeVries outside the lineup, and they still had huge victories against Kansas and Iowa State. Any way you slice it, this thing reeks of corruption. You know, we've been involved in dealing with the NCAA in the past. There are some watching now know that I brought litigation against the NCAA with a number of my colleagues a few years ago. I know there were a lot of chants to free Raekwon Battle, which is what we did when the NCAA rules for transfers was out of whack. It's hard for me to put that aside right now, knowing that West Virginia was out in front suing in 2023, and here we are, an NCAA, I don't know what's going on. Is this retribution? We're going to have to get to the bottom of that. Today, I'm joined here with our Attorney General. He's the Chief Legal Officer for the state. And I've asked Attorney General McCuskey to launch an investigation into the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee to determine if any backyard deals, backroom deals, corruption, bribes, or any nefarious activity occurred during the selection process. I know that the Attorney General and I are going to leave no stone unturned during this process. We need to get to the bottom of it. I think a lot of Americans count on the fact that there's transparency and that there's fairness when dealing with selection, whether you're talking about college football playoffs, remember what happened to Florida State a couple years ago, or when it comes to March Madness. Those are basic things that all Americans deserved. We want those objective criteria, and I'm now pleased to turn it over to the state's Attorney General, J.B. McCuskey.
I think it's incumbent upon me to work with the governor to ensure that this process is fair. And it's easy for the casual fan to look at the NCAA tournament and see it as sort of a fun way to fill out a bracket. But at the end of the day, it's a billion-dollar business that involves NIL. It involves the lifetime's worth of work for a ton of student athletes who this would have been the pinnacle of their career. And if you watched this WVU basketball team this year, not enough can really be said about what Coach DeVries has done this year, about what A.D. Ren Baker has done this year, to put a team on the court that overcame unbelievable obstacles. We have 11 new players that weren't on the team last year, and we earned a spot in the NCAA tournament. You can't really make an argument any other way. There is no mathematical metric that shows you that WVU should have been left out in favor of some of the teams that were there.
All right, so that last voice you heard was the Honorable John J.B. McCuskey, the 35th Attorney General of the great state of West Virginia, who thinks he's not seen any metrics that state that North Carolina was better than West Virginia. And here's my thing, and then JD, I know you have some numbers over there. So here's my thing. And again, there's all kinds of metrics you can look at. I'm just looking at the metrics that are right in front of me right now. Versus the AP poll, North Carolina went 1-8 this season versus team. I don't know if this is like teams that are currently in the AP poll or just
probably when
games
they
played.
Yeah, generally
that a team was ranked. They went 1-8. West Virginia in those same games, obviously a lot of those against Big 12 teams, was 4-4. So at least there's one metric where West Virginia is better than North Carolina. But did the AD at North Carolina, is his name is really Bubba?
I believe
Bubba?
so, yes.
This could not be any more Southern than this whole. I mean, what is this? The Dukes of Hazzard? Bubba went into the back room and
Backyard.
and greased up some palms.
It's a backyard deal. That's what he said.
We're calling for an investigation. This is this sports or is this politics?
It's Lawrence R. Bubba Cunningham.
Oh my gosh. This sounds so backyard Southern. I can't even stop laughing about this.
First and foremost, I'd like to say that Arizona saw West Virginia in their 3-game, 3-day tournament.
Right.
Then they saw them a couple weeks later in their first weekend of Big 12 play.
Yeah, and it might have been the first game that
Or was that the one they played that wasn't a conference game?
No. The game in the Bahamas was not a conference game.
Yeah, but then they played them right after
And
that, right?
that was a conference game.
Yeah, anyway, one thing that needs to be said is that Coach DeVries and what he did in that university, the story is simple. He came in, this is his first year. They had an completely 100% turnover on their roster, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was the team
Yeah.
that brought in 12 new guys. Not a
Right.
single player on this year's West Virginia Mountaineers team was on the team last year. His son came over with him, was their star player. Arizona saw him. He was the one responsible for West Virginia's win over Arizona in the first matchup. Great player, great coach. So let's first and foremost give credit to that coaching staff, DK. Javon Small, was it? He was the runner-up for Player of the Year in the conference. I mean, that the story of that team is outrageously good all season long, what they did. That being said, what the guy said at what their attorney general said at the end there, no mean to be disrespectful, is that there's no metric that shows North Carolina. Well, I'm looking at the official net ranking in front of me. I also have Ken Pomeroy's official ranking. He's been known to be the best computer-based, data-driven ranker since the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, the net ranking for the University of North Carolina is 36th, and the final net ranking for West Virginia is 51st. So contrary to what the Attorney General said right there, all of the metrics show that North Carolina is significantly higher rated than West Virginia. Ken Pomeroy has West Virginia as the 53rd ranked team in the country, and North Carolina is the 33rd ranked team in the country. Now, this takes into account road, away, opponent's strength, how much you won by. There's a lot of different factors that go into these ranking systems. It's all math. Neither of us is smart enough to figure that out. I'll just take Ken Pomeroy's word for it, right? But the idea that they, number one, weren't ahead of that all the computer metrics pointed towards West Virginia being more worthy is factually untrue. Secondly, remember Kenyon Martin? So Cincinnati was undefeated. They hadn't lost the entire season. They get in their postseason tournament. They lost their first game, I believe, either their last game of the regular season or their postseason tournament game. They were the number one team in the country for 2 consecutive months, DK. Kenny Martin broke his leg. They got a 2 seed. 2 seed.
Yeah.
Because their best player and one of the 5 best players in America was not going to play in the NCAA tournament. So while it's true that the West Virginia Mountaineers did defeat Iowa State and Kansas without Tucker DeVries in the lineup, he only played the first 8 games. He's been out since. The committee has to take into account what the roster is today.
Right.
What the roster is going into the NCAA tournament. So although they did do quite well in that preseason tournament, and if Tucker DeVries was in the lineup, I think there would be a different story. I think this is one of those situations where you have to take the roster into account, and the real factor that I haven't mentioned so far, DK, is that North Carolina had the 7th strongest non-conference schedule in the country, and West Virginia had the 137th. Now, why is that? Because Tucker DeVries came in, brand new coaching staff, brand new roster, all those things. You don't want to jump in and play top 10 teams. Number one, the schedule is usually made 4 or 5 years in advance, but any wiggle room they had to do the non-conference schedule, they weren't going to do a murderer's row. They had a brand new team. If you want to point to one reason why West Virginia did not get in, North Carolina did, it's simply the non-conference strength of schedule.
There you go. And maybe they should be more mad at the SEC who got 14 of their 16 teams in, including several that had double the amount of losses.
Yeah, Texas
in conference play than they had wins.
Texas and Oklahoma finished 6 and 12.
How is that even possible?
Well, I'll
How
tell
is
you
that
why. Do you
even
know why?
possible?
Because, again, I just said non-conference is so important.
Right.
Do you know what the SEC's non-conference record as a conference
Yeah,
was
you
this
said
year?
it was like some
185 and 23,
right.
including something outrageous like 24 and 2 against the big the ACC SEC challenge. Right? Is that what they do every year?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the SEC, the reason why you see so many top 10, top 15 teams in the AP poll in the SEC is because you carry your ranking into your conference play from non-conference. That's how that all works. So if your league goes 185 and 23 and beats a bunch of other top-ranked teams from other conferences around the country in non-conference, it applies and goes forward into your conference, and then you just beat up on each other. So then there's a whole bunch of teams just cycling through the AP numbers. Number 8 beats number 12. They rank up a little bit more. Number 15 beats number 6. That's how this year's gone for the SEC.
All right, so I was completely wrong when I guessed who the two teams that didn't make it were. What did I said? Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. It's actually LSU and South Carolina. Didn't they go to the Final Four like 3-4 years? How long ago was that?
I don't know.
That team had their magical run to the Final Four. It seems like it was just yesterday, and now they're one of the worst teams in college basketball. We'll dive more into that. Their women's team is a number 1 seed, and they're not necessarily all that happy about the fact that they weren't the top number 1. That went to a UCLA team that lost twice to Southern California, who's also a number 1. A lot of people complaining on the women's side today. It's the fallout of Selection Sunday.
It wouldn't be mid-March, DK, if people weren't complaining about either where
Right?
they were slotted or that they got left out. That's
I'm
just what this time of year's all about.
I'm a number 1 seed, but you've put me in the same bracket with UConn. Come on, Lindsay, I love you, but come on. Come on. You're a number 1 seed for the first time in my lifetime as a Trojan. And you're the number 1 seed, and you're complaining because you're on the same, because UConn is on the same side of the bracket. As
She's scared of Paige.
Come on, Paige buckets. There you go. It'll be a great regional final if it comes down to that. DK on the sports tip. Cricket is off all week long. She's taking a break, spring break for cricket. So Dragon Ball is getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Update about the I-10 westbound near milepost 264. The right lane has been reopened on the bridge that goes over Country Club there after they officially complete the repair work that happened over the past 2 days, so completion on that. As for your weather, 84 degrees around Tucson. We won't be getting cooler here until about 6 o'clock when we get out of the 80s. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by True Green.
We're back in the miller's yard, who now use True Green. Their lawn started looking like a golf course, and PGA Tour golfers made it their favorite stop.
Get a PGA Tour quality lawn for as little as $1 a day at TrueGreen.com. Exclusions apply. See TrueGreen.com for details.
AutoNation Honda Tucson at the Auto Mall is your premier automotive destination in town. Explore the new 2025 Honda models and extensive collection of pre-owned vehicles. Experience no-hassle financing and our no-haggle one-price selection. Visit AutoNation Honda Tucson at the Auto Mall today.
Did you miss the big game?
They need a 3 to get to overtime.
You know we got you covered.
Midcourt, shot is up. Good! Love has hit a 3. We're going to overtime.
Trying to keep it close, and you never give up. I guess that's life in the Big 12.
Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, she's inside. Are you good?
Yeah. It's just, she's my baby girl, you know?
I do, and ceramic coating was a good choice.
She's beautiful.
Yep, I know.
Recon Auto Detailing. Enhance or restore your baby to her former glory with paint recondition, ceramic coating, paint protection, tinting, and more for full protection of your vehicle inside and out. New cars, old cars, we love them all. Recon Auto Detailing, 3829 North Oracle Road, Tucson. ReconDetail.com.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
It's the $10,000 quiz show. Okay, contestants, these are things that save you money. Ready? Here we go. It's Tucson's only place to save up to 40% on all your favorite tobacco products.
Tobacco Barn.
You pay no city or state sales tax because they're on
the Indian Reservation.
And save up to another $3 off with a coupon at
TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
Excellent. Now for the big savings. At Tobacco Barn, you'll save up to
40% off?
And because they're on the reservation, you pay no
city or state sales tax.
And at TobaccoBarnTucson.com, you get
a coupon up to $3 off?
What you are if you waste your money shopping somewhere else.
Crazy?
Nuts.
Stupid?
A few tacos short of a combo plate?
Wow! Tobacco Barn, Tucson's most watched savings show. Nogales Highway just south of Valencia. Check your local listings or TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
Sure do love this time of year.
Me too. People smiling at each other. Sun is shining.
Everybody singing those holiday songs.
Holiday songs?
We're talking about Alaska vacation season, right?
Yeah, but
there aren't any Alaska vacation songs. Oh, wait.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Like angels from the heavens.
Not even close to that.
But when Alaskan AC performs our exclusive Alaska vacation, it's primed and prepped for the coming summer heat.
And every Alaska vacation comes with our guarantee of no breakdowns all summer long.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Still no angels.
But people love singing it. Come on. If you want your AC to last...
No.
Do we have to sing?
Yes. All summer long with an Alaska
No.
Okay, but don't come crying to me if you Scrooges don't get anything from the Alaska Vacation Bunny.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Hey, it's David Kelly, DK on the Sports Tip. Don't forget to download the Wildcats Radio 1290 app. It slaps. We've got full coverage of the Wildcats, the Suns, the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, Pima College. Download the Wildcats Radio 1290 app today.
DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on our program today. 520-848-1290. Arizona men's basketball going to be headed up to Seattle to take on the Akron Zips from the Mid-American Conference. That'll be Friday. So the time is 4:35. There was a lot of confusion about that last night because the Big 12 sent out a release declaring that the Wildcats were playing at 4:35 Mountain Daylight Time.
So they haven't figured out that Arizona doesn't change the time yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no. So the other thing they had on their release, was that the game was going to start at 5:35 Central Time. So they had it all. They had it absolutely, totally incorrect because 4:35 West Coast time, which is what we're on right now, is actually 6:35 Central Time. So the Big 12 still has not quite figured out exactly how the time zone works for two of the 16 teams that play in their league.
Yeah. Arizona, we're the odd state out, right? So it makes sense. I mean, Big 12 has been around since the mid-'90s. And they've never had the Arizona schools involved. So the time change was what, last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago?
Yes.
So this would be the first real major scheduling situation they've had to deal with since the time change with Arizona not changing time. Yeah. I bet you it won't happen again.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you out there. I forgot my hat. I was like going around doing a gazillion things this morning, and I forgot my I have one of those big, long, green
Kiss
and
me, I'm
white
Irish.
hats. Well, no. So let me explain that part of the story. Obviously, my last name is Kelly, which is an Irish name, although I'm anything, not close to being Irish. But growing up with an Irish name, so I think it was like when I lived in Cleveland. So this goes all the way back to the early 2000s, late 1990s. So St. Patrick's Day is a huge day in Cleveland. I mean, nobody works. The bars open at 6 a.m. There's a big parade, and then everybody drinks all day. So whether the weather's good or bad.
Speaking of being up at 6 a.m. to drink and the bars being open all day, did you see who was at the buffet this morning?
No.
Shia LaBeouf.
The buffet here?
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf. There's
Really?
pictures of Shia LaBeouf drinking alcohol at like 6 o'clock this morning.
That's one of the few places here in town I think you can drink at 6 a.m.
I've been there as early as like 4 a.m. Yeah, myself. Yeah, for sure.
So I came up with this like whole mantra when I was in my 30s. Like, yeah, my last name is Kelly, but I'm not really Irish, but I'm a black guy with an Irish last name. So I would always say, kiss me, I'm a black guy with an Irish last name. This is like when you're single and you're trying to get dates.
Sure.
This is like the stupid stuff you come up with on St. Patrick's Day.
Sure.
Right, exactly. So then when I moved to Memphis, I said, because everybody has the thing, and I don't know how they do it here, because I've really only been to the St. Patrick's Day parade one time here, and I don't even know, did they even have it this year? I went in like 2011, I think, was the one time I ever went to it. I don't even know. I don't even remember hearing about it this year here in Southern Arizona. So anyway, the big thing in Cleveland on St. Patrick's Day was everybody had the buttons that said "Kiss me, I'm Irish," all that kind of thing. Well, I said, well, I'm going to get my thing on a button. So I went to Kinko's, and I literally had a button produced, and I you can like go on my my Facebook page, and it's probably pictures there. I usually post it every year. I didn't post it this year though. So I have a green button. I'll bring it in tomorrow. Or Wednesday, because we're not doing a show tomorrow. I literally have a button that says "Kiss me, I'm a black guy with an Irish last name."
A good one.
Exactly. And so I have a hat. I have like one of those long, like what's the cat in the hat? Like they had the long hat.
Sure.
I have one of those long green and white hats, and my button is on there. So I actually had two buttons made. I had one button that said that, and then I had another button that said "Kiss me, I'm a Kelly." So I have one, and then I wear one on one side, and I wear one on the other.
There was a parade yesterday. It was the 37th annual Armory Park area.
I completely missed it then because we were busy doing NCAA selection shows.
As I mentioned yesterday, I was the Guinness Toastmaster at Frog 3 years in a row, and they gave us an official Guinness hat, which was one of those hats like you're describing, but it was a Guinness pint, so it had the head on top. You know what I mean? Guinness head has to be famously 2 inches, if you know how to pour it, and the cascading and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was a really super high quality hat. I don't know what happened to that hat, DK, but that was the only St. Patrick's themed hat that I ever owned. Yeah, I mean, like I said, my family we have a castle in Ireland, the Madden Castle. So my dad's side of the family is very Irish, but we never really we had a few cocktails on St. Patrick's Day. It's been more recently in my life that I've embraced more of the making corned beef myself and bangers and mash and that whole thing. But, back in the day, Frog was a English pub, and when Tucson didn't have a whole lot in the mid 90s. And so we were a huge hub for St. Patrick's Day back when I worked there for sure.
Did you were black and tans, were those huge here?
Sure.
In the late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, black and tans are very, very
old. I've not
old.
seen people drink those much lately. In fact, I can't remember the last time I used to drink Bass Ale because I'm an amber guy.
Sure.
I used to drink Bass Ale all the time when I lived in Cleveland, but I don't know that do they even sell that anymore? Because I don't even know if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, no, Bass
anywhere.
is like a 300-year-old brewery, so I mean, it's been around for a long time.
I've not seen a Bass Ale for years, but everybody used to drink Black and Tans. I was never really a big Guinness. That was probably a little bit too dark for me.
Sure.
But yeah.
1777
was when Bass
Brewery was founded. Yeah. It's been around for a minute.
There you go. All right. So, have you ever been to like any of the big city St. Patrick's Day celebrations?
I'm pretty sure I went when I lived in San Francisco.
No, I've not been to one.
I've spent a lot of time in Boston. Both my dad and my sister went to college in Boston. I've spent a lot of time out there, but I was never there this time of year. So no, I haven't been to any of the major big time ones, Chicago with the river and all that stuff. I haven't been to one of those events, no.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a big deal in Cleveland. I can't remember if it was too big in Memphis when I was down there, but yeah, it's a fun time. It's a great day today. Like I talked about a couple weeks ago. I said, maybe I'll take St. Patrick's Day off because my wife actually was in San Diego this past weekend. She was running a race out there, and she's like, well, maybe we'll go because all the teams are playing today. The major league teams up in spring training.
Sure.
And so a lot of them will wear the green hats and stuff on St. Patrick's Day. And I was like, maybe I'll go up and you can stop through on the way back from San Diego. We can go see a ball game or something. I think the Indians were playing a night game, which wasn't exactly ideal. You'd rather just go and see a day game, but I'm sure there's a lot of green out at the ball fields of spring training today, enjoying some baseball and the holiday. So let us know how you are celebrating St. Patrick's Day. 520-848-1290. But J-Dub, do you remember St. Patrick's Day 5 years ago?
Not off the top of my head.
No. That was the last night before lockdown. Yeah. And I remember it because my wife and I were like, everyone had announced that, we're shutting down tonight. Like 9 o'clock tonight, we're closing. All the bars were like closing, and nobody was sure. We've obviously initially thought it was going to be for 2 weeks, and then it went on for months, obviously. But that was the last. St. Patrick's Day was the beginning of lockdown.
It makes sense because
5 years ago.
It makes sense because the conference basketball tournaments just wrapped up, and they always do this time of year. And 5 years ago, when the Pac-12 conference tournament was canceled, I was sitting in this very chair preparing for our pregame, which was meant to start in about an hour. I don't even remember who they were scheduled to play at the time. But if you remember, that was a year where Arizona kind of struggled and really was looking for a good tournament run down the stretch. And so I was sitting in this very chair 5 years ago last week preparing for a pregame that never ended up happening because they canceled the conference tournament and then the NCAA tournament directly thereafter.
Yeah. Last week, a lot of people were talking about the first, game that was canceled was the Jazz game. I think it was the Jazz and the Thunder. And I was
Rudy
watching
did that. That was all Rudy.
Exactly. Rudy had the press conference and got up and was touching stuff.
Licking mics is what he was doing.
Thought that was funny. And it was weird kind of looking back. And obviously Donovan Mitchell was playing in that game and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all these guys were like so young at that time. And now they're like the stars of the league. But they were just getting going 5 years ago. And I remember that night, my wife and I were out at one of our favorite places, which is Arizona Wine Collective up at St. Philip's Plaza. And we were playing they used to have games up there. I don't know if they still do or not because we don't really play them, but they had games. So I think we were playing Connect 4 or something. And it came over the phone. Ooh, they just canceled the Jazz game. And so that was the first night. And I remember, I think a couple nights later, I think the Sunday night came and we went out to eat. And it was because everybody at that point, you knew stuff was going to be shutting down.
Right.
And so we went out to Guadalajara Grill and it was packed. And there was I think there was a bunch because there's always a bunch of baseball teams that'll come out here from the Midwest and play out at Keno North Stadium.
Busy time of year for this part of the country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there were 2 baseball teams in there eating night. I mean, it was totally packed. And then we're should we really be in here having, dinner tonight? And it was kind of, and then St. Patrick's Day was the night. And I remember we went out, I think we went out to, The parish. I think the parish was where we went out to the parish.
That's been the big St. Patrick's Day over the years. Yeah.
And they were closing down at 9:00, and we had a couple beers there, and then we went home, and it was funny. I think we went and got to celebrate. So this is our new thing now, is going back to pandemic. Is we got a 40 of Mickeys.
Sure, with the brown bag.
Exactly. We got a 40 of Mickeys. And we filmed ourselves on our balcony toasting to lockdown.
That was college time for us in the early 90s. 40s of Old English and Mickey's,
Oh,
in
yes.
a brown bag.
Oh, yes. So I got to text my wife that we gotta go. One of us has to stop and get a couple of fifths of Mickey so we can toast.
Hey, tradition
tonight.
is tradition.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's just like she calls it my tradition because she doesn't like to do it. We actually make toast on New Year's Eve. Like real toast.
That's like the tradition of doing fireball shots on the golf course, right?
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, everybody, what is your tradition? Whether it's St. Patrick's Day or lockdown, was there a tradition that came out of lockdown 5 years ago tonight? Everybody shut their doors for what we thought was 2 weeks, and it went on for a whole lot longer than that. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. DK on the sports tip. Dragon Ball getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the Auto Nation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. A few crashes to watch out for. State Route 77 North has the intersection blocked right now near West Ina Road due to a crash there. And we have an incident with unknown injuries at North Oracle and West McGee, both north and southbound Oracle, seeing a lot of slowing as you approach the intersection there. Still about 84 degrees. We'll be cooling down now to about 83 once we get to 4. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
We are your home for all things Arizona basketball. 3 hours of pregame.
They're not going to finish the season 19-1, guys.
2 hours of postgame.
I guarantee you, Coach told the guys don't come over and help on him.
And all the action in between. Wildcats Radio 1290.
I'm Michael Jenkins here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM Network. The Knicks host the Miami Heat tonight as a classic Eastern Conference rivalry is renewed. New York returns to the friendly confines of Madison Square Garden after a long West Coast road trip, and they are the side to back tonight as a 7-point favorite against a struggling Miami team that is an awful 0-5 against the number in their last 5 games. I'm Michael Jenkins from the BetMGM Network. Bet smarter and beat the books and download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
If you can't be at the game, then you should be at Dave & Buster's. It's the best place to eat, watch, drink, and play. Watch your favorite team throughout the entire tournament. Take a walk on the $1 Million Midway where you can play the biggest and newest arcade games. So when your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's. Watch all the sports you want. They have massive HD TVs, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Sure do love this time of year.
Me too. People smiling at each other. Sun is shining.
Everybody singing those holiday songs.
Holiday songs?
We're talking about Alaska vacation season, right?
Yeah, but
There aren't any Alaska vacation songs. Oh, wait.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Like angels from the heavens.
Not even close to that.
But when Alaskan AC performs our exclusive Alaska vacation, it's primed and prepped for the coming summer heat.
And every Alaska vacation comes with our guarantee of no breakdowns all summer long.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Still no angels.
But people love singing it. Come on. If you want your AC to last...
No.
Do we have to sing?
Yes. All summer long with an Alaska
No.
Okay, but don't come crying to me if you Scrooges don't get anything from the Alaska Vacation Bunny.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
I'm Bill Ryder of the Sports Minute, and allow me to indulge the worst parts of my personality, and maybe yours. I'm enjoying Aaron Rodgers twisting in the wind. It turns out the entire NFL is waiting, not on Rodgers to make a decision, but on the Vikings to decide whether or not they want Aaron Rodgers. What a refreshing turn of events. The guy that made the Packers wait and made the Jets wait now waits himself. I'm Bill Ryder.
It's time for basketball, and right now, Uber Eats has deals on Burger King, Buffalo Wild Wings, KFC, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a burger. Get game day deals now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for deals.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it to keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's time for basketball, and right now, Uber Eats has deals on McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Get game day deals now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
DK on the sports tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Love chases down the Arizona rebound. Lead pass into KJ Lewis. Lewis streaking down, goes behind the back to the bucket and lay it in.
What a beautiful behind-the-back dribble there. Just to shake Cryer there at the free throw line for the nice, beautiful finish.
And your Arizona Wildcats are a top 25 basketball team yet again. They come in at number 21 in this week's poll after their run to the championship game of the Big 12 tournament. So they'll be in the, because I don't think they do another poll now until the end. So
yeah, not till postseason.
Yeah, they'll at least
after
be
the season.
in the poll until the next one comes out. So congratulations to the Arizona Wildcats for being back in the top 25.
Yeah, it helps. I mean, they just lost that game at Kansas, but that's a Kansas team that is currently 20th in net ranking. Net ranking is a big part of that. And they also defeated Texas Tech, despite the fact that obviously we all know who watched the game that was a team that their best player and the conference's player of the year was a little under the weather, and they also didn't have two starters. But that's also a 7th-ranked net ranking Texas Tech team. So therein lies the bump up from non-ranked to 21st, as those last two games in the tournament were against very, very, very good teams.
We were talking, obviously, in the first segment a little bit about the situation involving West Virginia and them not getting in, which is really kind of the talk of college basketball, at least on the men's side at the moment. And the Big 12, the commissioner of the Big 12, Brett Yormark, released a statement today on this. He says, I was surprised and disappointed to see West Virginia not receive a bid to the NCAA tournament. In addition to their 6 Quad 1 wins, the Mountaineers won 10 conference games, one of the toughest leagues in the country. West Virginia deserved a spot, and fans across the country agree. Coach DeVries and his team did an incredible job fighting adversity and winning big games all season. Regardless of this disappointing outcome, I'm incredibly proud of how they represented the Big 12 all season long. That was from Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12.
That's very true in a vacuum. However, again, their first 8 games, including wins over number 3 ranked Gonzaga at the time and number 24 ranked Arizona at the time, were with their best player and the coach's son, Tucker DeVries, and he was injured in the eighth game and hasn't returned since. So they were left out based on the roster they currently have. A couple of those high net ranked wins that the commissioner mentions there were with a player who's no longer on the roster. So just like Kenyon Martin when he got his injury, Cincinnati, the number 1 team in the country, got bumped down to a 2 seed that same week just because the favorite for player of the year in the country was injured and not going to play in the NCAA tournament. So I think both can be true, DK. I think West Virginia is certainly worthy of being in the NCAA tournament. I mean, like their governor mentioned, they do have wins over Kansas and Iowa State without Tucker DeVries. So, I mean, and Devon Smalls, he was basically 1A as far as player of the year in the conference to Mr. Toppin. So that's a very good quality West Virginia team. Down the stretch, they were loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, win, loss. And they didn't have their last major win was against Iowa State, which was 2 months ago. So the last time they had a big win, committee takes into account your situation versus other top-ranked teams, especially down the stretch. So all those factors go into it. As I said from the very get-go, I think if they don't play, I can actually tell you their net ranking non-conference. It was number 221 Massachusetts, number 252 Iona, number 319 North Carolina Central, 277 Bethune-Cookman, and 336 Mercyhurst. So they literally didn't make the tournament based on their 138th ranked non-conference schedule, whereas North Carolina had a 7th ranked nationally non-conference schedule, is probably, if you had to point to one thing, the defining factor as to why the Tar Heels were picked. I wouldn't have a problem if the Tar Heels were sitting home and West Virginia was in, or vice versa. That margin, DK, at the very end, when you're talking about those bubble teams, first 4 out, last 4 in, it's really tricky, and it's impossible to get it right. Maybe commissioner's right. The 178 is the number they should shoot for.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Did you see what Fran Fraschilla said about Caleb Love?
I did not.
So obviously Fran Fraschilla is been on broadcast. He's on the ESPN's Big 12 broadcasting team.
I heard him say that Caleb Love was mercurial about 17 times though in the last 48 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, they like to use big words. He wrote a long post yesterday about Caleb Love. I'll read it to you if you did not see it. This is Fran Fraschilla. He said, I was inclined not to like Arizona's Caleb Love this season based on what I'd heard. But I kept an open mind. I asked everybody inside the Wildcats program about him, and they raved about his character. I watched him play 6 or 7 times in person. Because of his age, he may not be a first-round pick, but there are not 60 better NBA prospects. Can his shot selection and accuracy get better? Yes. But he's an incredible athlete with size, speed, and strength and never gets tired, except on defense occasionally. And he has a surprisingly high passing IQ for a scorer. He made 89% of his free throws this year. Will he be in the NBA G League initially? Probably. But he can play in the NBA. His game is absolutely suited for it. Please don't at me, friendship. Fran, speaking like the young kids, please don't at me. I've coached NBA players and mentored many countless others.
Yeah, no lies detected. I mean, we all know, like, that's the issue, DK, is especially with the NBA scout scenario, if you prove by freshman, sophomore year that you are a certain way, you get that reputation and it sticks with you, right? Caleb Love is one of those guys who's been the best go-to guy on his team more or less since he got in college. And his efficiency rating hasn't had that bump, that line that goes upwards throughout the trajectory of his college career, which is what a lot of people are looking for. So when you're talking about a lower potentially field goal percentage or shot selection or decision making, you really have to factor in, number one, that he's taken a lot of last second shots, right? So when the shot clock's getting low, they call it a grenade. One of his teammates passes him the ball with 5 seconds to go. So a lot of his shots and his field goal percentage as a result is low because he takes so many late shot clock shots. I think he's definitely a pro player, DK. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that Caleb Love could definitely be in a rotation in the NBA. And to stay there, he will have to make sure that, because shot quality is at such a premium these days, that if there are floaters over three defenders, one thing Caleb does quite often, if he gets a 1 versus 3 fast break, he shoots it. 1 on 3, him versus 3 other guys, he'll take that shot. And sometimes it's best just to curl back around and reset the offense. I think that's what a lot of scouts are looking for, is that decision-making of forcing a Kobe Bryant type shot over defenders to make it difficult when that's not necessary and you have time left. But other than that, as far as measurables and his skill set, and he's by definition, the definition of a streaky shooter. So there's those games where he's 6 for 7. It seems like the hoop is super big for him. Other games where it seems like he can't find the stroke. That's a big issue these days, because if you're, what is he, 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah.
You know, got some good length to him. Definitely strong, very strong. If your shot selection isn't great and you're not a consistent outside shooter, and there's somebody else who is, DK, who can spread that court in this 4-out, 5-out set world that they live in at the NBA level these days, consistency, I think, with that jump shot is the one big thing I think Caleb could work on more than anything, is being able to be a 36, 37, 38, 39, 40% three-point shooter would get him a spot in the NBA for the next 15 years. That's the big question mark, is can he consistently knock that shot down? Because that's a shot he's going to need to knock down in addition to driving closeouts.
Caitlin Clark might be a little unhappy this week.
I think your mic just went out, my friend.
My mic went out? I can hear myself still.
That's weird.
Hello?
Hold on one second while we get David Kelly's mic working again.
I can hear myself. Can you not hear me? That's weird that I can hear me, but you can't hear me? No? Okay.
Let's try this one over here.
I just lost my camera there. 1, 2.
No, that one's not working either.
Whoa.
I think we just lost contact to your entire studio. So real quick, while we get DK's mics and situation working in the studio, real quick, let's listen to something we heard today. We're talking about how there was a college football press conference. Brett Brennan we'll hear from later on this afternoon. But earlier today, also, Deion Sanders had some interesting things to say. He says they need to sell out the spring game because some people are talking about potentially canceling it, and he thinks he has a tremendous idea of how to fix that.
Spring game will be televised. ESPN2 will broadcast spring game on the 19th. We got to sell this thing out and pack this thing, because the way the trend is going, you never know if this is going to be the last spring game. I don't believe in that. I don't really want to condone that. I would like to play the spring. Actually, I like to play against another team in the spring. That's what I'm trying to do right now, to have it competitive. Playing against your own guys kind of get monotonous, and you really can't tell the level of your guys, because, you know, it's the same old. Everybody kind of know each other towards the end. I would like to style it like the pros. I would like to practice against someone for a few days, then you have the spring game. And I think the public will be satisfied with that tremendously. I think it's a tremendous idea. Yeah, I've told those personnel who should understand that it's a tremendous idea.
Sorry about that. I think, in fact, what happened was my studio was broken and not your studio.
Okay.
So
I could hear myself talking, that's weird. That's interesting what Dion said, and we'll dive into that maybe a little bit more in the next hour. But it's something that I've been saying forever. Now, maybe in a little bit of a different mindset of what he's talking about. But one of the things I've said, especially as it relates to the state of Arizona, is I've long thought that the spring game should be a collective experience between all three of the major schools here in the state. It should be Arizona, Arizona State, Northern Arizona should all get together, make it a celebration of football, invite high school kids from all over the state, bring youth teams in from all over the state. You could have it in Tucson one year. You could have it in Flagstaff one spring. You could have it in Tempe another spring. And then just make it a celebration of the game of football here in our state. And you could rotate the two teams or the three teams throwing their offenses and defense out there against each other. So, and if you don't, maybe if you don't want Arizona and Arizona State going at each other in the spring game, maybe it's Arizona's offense against NAU's defense, and then, NAU's defense or offense against ASU's defense, and doing it that way. But yeah, it's an absolutely great idea, and it's something that I've said for a long time that I think should happen. That these spring games should be more of a competition. Bring in another team. And create an atmosphere like that. I'd love something like that.
I mean, I think there's two sides of that coin. The other side of that is, do we really need revenue generation from a spring game? Is that meant to be like the diehard fans who come out early to see the team and what they're going to be relative to the regular season games? Because NIL, we're talking about revenue sharing. We're talking about all these athletic departments underwater, right? So pointing towards the spring game needing to be a revenue generating event, that's to me the big takeaway, because DK, that's never been a conversation of we got to get a bunch of people in the seats outside of, Austin and some of these bigger schools that rely upon 100,000 people in their stands for the spring game. In general, across the country, that's not one of the ones you point to as selling a lot of hot dogs for. But if you're, I like the idea of having those close scrimmages they have for college basketball, but obviously opening up for the fans and having some level of competition. Same argument as why the NBA All-Star Game people have soured on, because it's just there's zero level of competition involved, right? And you see the walkthroughs and two teams who have already fought against each other for the spring having an opportunity to get the competitive juices flowing and show what you can do. Yeah, I think having other teams involved would be a great step for sure.
All right, we'll dive more into that. If you have an opinion on that or not, we'll love to hear it. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. We're going to hear from Medea Barnes, Brett Brennan, the ladies of the women's basketball team. They're going to be in the WBIT, and I believe the Pima women opened up play today in their national tournament. We'll bring you up to speed on what's happening over there, as both the men and the women up on West Anklam Road are trying to win national championships as well. DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the Auto Nation Honda and BMW of Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Crash at the I-10 westbound median. This is near Alveron Way North, causing a lot of slowing on the I-10 westbound as you approach milepost 266. Do try to avoid this if you can. Also, incident with property damage at West Cotero Farms and North Joplin Lane, slowing things down as you approach the I-10 frontage road. And for your weather, we're getting ready to hit 83 degrees. We'll be dropping into the 70s here by 6 o'clock. I'm Dragon Ball with you, Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Listen, you can skip this ad, or you can double your first year cash back with Discover. Still here? Good choice. Discover automatically matches all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Nobody covers your Cats like we do.
Touchdown, Arizona!
With press conferences, coaches shows, and play-by-play, we bring you all the stories, highlights, and analysis of your Arizona Wildcats. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Progressive understands that bond between you and your boat. But imagine if something happened to it. Without the boat, you're just Tina with too much boat knowledge. Sure, it's helpful on the water, but with no boat, you're someone who talks way too much about knots, and no one cares what a jib is anyway. Boat Tina could get away with it because she has a boat. So make sure your boat is insured. Get Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer, and then go back to being you, Tina, who owns a boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Autumn Nation.
You know it. Your neighbors know it. And let's face it, the mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be. But thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was. And even better. Dorado Rock Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
We are your home for all things Arizona basketball. 3 hours of pregame.
They're not going to finish the season 19-1, guys.
2 hours of postgame.
I guarantee you, Coach told the guys don't come over and help on him.
And all the action in between. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Your home for everything Arizona Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number. Welcome to the program. Hour number 2, DK on the Sports Tip. Love to hear from you, how you're spending your St. Patrick's Day. 520-848-1290. What was the best St. Patrick's Day you've ever had? Have you ever been to any of those big city celebrations for St. Patrick's Day? Dive in and let us know, because we'd like to hear from you on all of that. It was a big weekend of athletics for the university. Let's start with softball. Actually, let's start with baseball. The fellas, wait a minute, I think I have these out of order here. So I'm going to make a quick change to this, J-Dub, so I can see if I'm reading them correctly. All right, let's start with baseball. They had a 3-game series with the Cincinnati Bearcats, and they were down early on Friday night, and it was cold, if you remember Friday night. It was kind of cold. They put up a snowman in the 6th inning of that game. It was tapped off by one Garen Caulfield.
As the 2-1 swung on, well hit out to deep left field. Mitchell's going back, and it's out of here. A grand slam for Garen Caulfield. They call him Clutchfield for a reason. Arizona 8, Cincinnati 3 here in the Big 12 opener.
Clutchfield. I like that. Arizona won game 1 coming from behind. They didn't need to come from behind on Saturday and Sunday. That's because they got big hits in both of those games from Mason White out of South Point Catholic High School, first on Saturday.
Mason White rips this one out to deep right field. Vitterick is going back, and that's going to be off the wall for a base hit. Summerhill scores. Walton's going to come around to score as Mason White has a 2-run double.
And then Mason White would come up with the bases loaded in the game on Sunday and promptly clear all those bases.
First pitch is swung on out to right field. That'll drop for a base hit. TJ Adams will come around to score. Brendan Summerhill scores as Mason White rounds second. He's going for 3. Walton scores a base-clearing triple.
So a sweep for the Arizona Wildcats, who are just playing incredible baseball at home this season at High Corbett Field.
I was fortunate enough, DK, to be here in studio for our first broadcast of an Arizona Wildcats baseball game. That was yesterday versus Cincinnati, and there's a little more to the story of that bases clearing triple. Their pitcher, I'm trying to see who it was at the time. I don't have that. Maybe.
Let me tell you. I can tell
you. Hudson Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so their pitcher at the time, DK, on 12 pitches, walked the bases loaded. 12 consecutive balls, and Mason White hit the next pitch for a bases clearing triple. So that's 13 pitches and clear the bases. 12 pitches to load the bases on 12 consecutive balls, and then Mason White hit the base clearing triple.
So what do you say? So you're saying that Mason White had the green light?
I'm saying that if a snowman is 8 in an inning, there needs to be a name for 12 consecutive balls to walk the bases loaded. That's what I'm saying.
That you don't see that very often, and it's interesting because a lot of pitchers, a lot of coaches will tell you, make him throw a strike before you swing the bat up there. But Mason White's like, I think he might be just throwing this first pitch right down the middle, and I'm going to turn on it. And that's exactly what he did.
Carson Marsh.
Carson Marsh
was the pitcher at the time because he's the only one of their pitchers who had more than one walk. So, yeah, he walked the bases loaded, and then Mason White cleared it, and then they run ruled him in the very next half inning.
Yep. Only had to play 7 innings in that game and won 11-1. Mason White starting to he had a tough night that night. We were out there for Arizona State. He struck out 4 times in 4 at-bats. The golden, the sombrero, as we like to call it in baseball, which is something you never want to have as a hitter. But the Wildcats are hot. They have won, well, let's see, they won 3, 4, 7, 11 in a row since they lost to Tennessee a couple Sundays ago.
That 0-3 start is a long time ago, DK.
It was for sure. So the boys got a sweep. They'll be playing at home on Tuesday against Kansas. Now, that'll be a non-conference game against Kansas, not a conference game. But I believe Kansas may have played up at Arizona State this weekend. That's probably why they are still here, and or they're coming out on a trip and are making a stop through here. And then the fellows will be on the road at West Virginia next weekend to continue play in the Big 12. Meanwhile, over at Hillenbrand Stadium, the Arizona softball team, after losing their first Big 12 series to Central Florida, made it look pretty easy this past weekend against Utah.
As Taylor Jacobs now has gone 2 1/3 and has this one swung on and belted to the left center power alley and a line drive home run that is gone. That was a rope. Nets with her 9th homer on the year. 2-1 now to Stoddard. As this one swung on and hit well to left field and deep. Back is Sakai, but it's gone. So the discussion about a need for insurance runs results in Miranda Stoddard hitting her 9th homer.
Well, Miranda Stoddard just continues to be the slugger for your Arizona Wildcats, who outscored Utah this weekend 19-6. Second game a little bit tighter, 8-6, after the Wildcats had won 8-0 on Friday night by run rule, and then they shut them out again on Sunday, winning by a count of 3-0 behind Saya Swain, Devin Netz, and Aisa Silva, who scattered 7 hits to get the win and the sweep. And the Wildcats are now 26-4 on the season.
How long's it been since a Major League batter hit 400?
Oh,
like 100 years.
Who? I'm trying to think. Who was the last one to do
Isn't
that?
it Lou Gehrig or somebody?
Was it? Gosh, who was the last one? Was it Ted Williams? And I know that Mattingly flirted with it. Brett flirted with it.
Ted Williams in 41.
Yeah, Ted Williams.
Well, the Arizona softball team is almost at 400 as a team.
Wow.
DK. They're third nationally. They're batting .382 as a team.
That's pretty impressive for sure.
Only Texas and Indiana have better batting averages. So, yeah, knocking them around.
So that was a nice bounce back. They're 4-2 now in conference play, coming off losing 2 out of 3 to Central Florida. So that was a nice bounce back win for the ladies this past weekend. And now they will go on the road to play at Grand Canyon on Wednesday. And then the rivalry series against the Sun Devils is coming up this weekend up in Tempe. It'll be Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. So 6 o'clock on Friday up at Farrington Stadium, 5 o'clock in the evening on Saturday at Farrington, and then 1 o'clock to wrap up that series on Sunday. All 3 of those games, well, at least we believe at this point, all 3 of those games will be broadcast on Freedom 1400 KTUC, although that could also depend on what the second game is for Arizona women's basketball, because they'll play Thursday night at home in the WBIT against Northern Arizona. And I would imagine their second game, I've not seen the bracket for the WBIT, but I would imagine their second game could be on Saturday or at some point over the weekend. So we might not broadcast all 3 of those ASU games if that indeed is the case. 520-848-1290, and we are joined now by the third member of our program, and today it is Dragon Ball in for Cricket, although that's Cricket's name up there. That's certainly not her.
He could be Cricket for a day.
I could be Cricket for a day.
Much better looking than you are,
I wouldn't.
Dragon Ball.
I would say very much so.
Absolutely. So, Dragon Ball, your thoughts on the Wildcats getting a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament?
I think that it's definitely a seed that they deserve, considering that they really, again, Houston, this is what, their second year in the Big 12. Them winning the tournament is kind of impressive in the sense of they're just getting used to these teams. U of A has never really faced any of these squads at any point during their history. So being able to go ahead and get into a new conference, be a top 4 seed in your conference, and then also take care of another squad that was pretty highly regarded in Texas Tech to get to that championship game, as well as, again, we mentioned it all throughout that initial lead up to the first game that they played against the preseason #1 overall team in Kansas, which, again, they may not be what they were expected to be, but they're still a darn good basketball team. And we saw that in Lawrence not too long ago. But I think the 4 seed is about where I expected them to be. Maybe you can make the argument that they should be a 3. But when you consider where they're in regards to their bracket, I think being the 4 seed is pretty much where you want to be in this situation.
Yeah, they finished the final regular season net rankings 12th, which would put them as the worst 3.
Yeah. Well, they were the worst, but in reality, and they were the worst 4.
Right, and only 6 teams had more quad 1 wins than Arizona. And that being said, the inconsistency, it's hard. I mean, they finished the season 5-5 before the tournament, so all those factors, I don't think anybody should be too upset with that seeding. I think it's right where they're deservedly at the seeding that they based on the bulk of their schedule and on their resume. I think that's just about right.
Right. And I think, again, like you mentioned, with the final stretch of the season, I know that that's not where the bracketologists and the committees look to see what the most recent performance is. But let's be honest, I don't know if Michigan gets as high of a ranking as they did unless they win the Big Ten tournament that they were able to come away with.
It used to be that the last 10 games of the season was one of the biggest factors.
Right.
How you play down the stretch, it's your whole resume, and then separately your last 10 games. Now, I think about 8-10 years ago, the committee came out and said that they were not going to factor the last 10 games as much as previous years. But when you think about the fact that they lost to BYU, they lost to Iowa State, they lost to Kansas, if any of those losses were wins down the stretch in the last 10 games, those are another top 25, top 30 ranked net ranking teams. That would have put them over the cusp to be a 3 seed, but I think 4 is exactly where they earned it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there are 32 teams in the WBIT, 4 regions. The Wildcats are the number 2 seed in their region. They'll host Northern Arizona on Wednesday in a game, again, that'll start at 6 o'clock here at McHale Center. And then the second round game would be on Sunday.
Yep.
So we'll likely have softball for you Friday and Saturday night. And then they'll play the winner of the Belmont Middle Tennessee game. And I would imagine that'll be here in Tucson. You never know with this tournament, but I think the Wildcats will be hosting all the way through until they get to Hinkle Fieldhouse, which will be the Final Four, the semifinals, and the finals of this tournament. And that's in Hinkle Fieldhouse is home to Butler, if I'm not correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
We all remember what happened last time they were in this tournament, and the end result of after winning it, what happened the next year. So.
Yeah, exactly. The only difference this year is they cannot win it at home because the finals are at a neutral site. And according to Dia, and you'll hear from her, this tournament is extremely well done, extremely well put together, and run a little bit better than even the old WNIT was. All right. We'll hear more from Dragon Ball coming up in the next hour. Right now, he's getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
Well, from the AutoNation Honda BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Another accident with injuries reported over at South Cove Road and East 29th Street. This one is seeing a little bit of slowdown right now on westbound 29th as you approach that intersection. And if you're on the I-10, I mentioned the westbound was having some issues. Now the eastbound I-10 is also being blocked. This is on the right lane near Alvernon Way as well. So both the westbound and eastbound I-10s, as you approach Alvernon Way exit there, are seeing some major slowdowns and blockages as you approach that spot of the interstate. And for your weather, we're currently at about 83. We're going to be cooling down to about 81 the next hour, and then we'll finally be out of the 80s once we get to 6. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Arizona Lottery. When you play the Arizona Lottery, there's always a chance you'll win big. But there's also a guarantee that you'll be giving back to the community. There's joy in it all. Love the play with scratchers, draw games, and more from the Arizona Lottery.
The jungle has moved to afternoon, so grab your best Tucson tuxedo and join us on the Jim Rome Show weekdays from noon till 3 p.m. right here on the flagship home of your Arizona Wildcats, Wildcats Radio 1290.
You know it, your neighbors know it, and let's face it, the mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be. But thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was, and even better. Dorado Rock Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
It's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit GetEthos.com. That's GetEthos.com.
Sample Rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Hey, man. It's me, your furnace, man. Hey, can I get a light here, man? I know we live in Arizona, so I understand I'm not, like as cool as your air conditioner. But I still need a tune-up at least once a year, man. So get the best in town, man. Goodfellas AC, bro. Hey, anybody smell that, man? I swear it wasn't me. Okay, it was me.
Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. GoodfellasAC.com.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
The tournament is here, and Total Wine & More is your slam dunk headquarters. Whether you're cheering courtside from your couch with crisp craft beers, smooth bourbons, or refreshing seltzers, we've got the perfect lineup to keep your watch party winning. And just like your bracket, we've got a lineup full of contenders. Whether you're picking favorites or going for bold upsets, our friendly guides will help you find amazing drinks for every matchup. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Sure do love this time of year.
Me too. People smiling at each other. Sun is shining.
Everybody singing those holiday songs.
Holiday songs?
We're talking about Alaska vacation season, right?
Yeah, but
there aren't any Alaska vacation songs. Oh, wait.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Like angels from the heavens.
Not even close to that.
But when Alaskan AC performs our exclusive Alaska vacation, it's primed and prepped for the coming summer heat.
And every Alaska vacation comes with our guarantee of no breakdowns all summer long.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Still no angels.
But people love singing it. Come on. If you want your AC to last...
No.
Do we have to sing?
Yes. All summer long with an Alaska
No.
Okay, but don't come crying to me if you Scrooges don't get anything from the Alaska Vacation Bunny.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
We bring you all the news and stories of your Arizona Wildcats. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Wildcats Radio 1290 for the latest highlights and commentary. Your home for U of A athletics, Wildcats Radio 1290.
I'm Chris Sylvester with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Seahawks have agreed to contract terms with wide receiver Cooper Kupp on a 3-year, $45 million deal, according to NFL Network insiders. Kupp, a former Offensive Player of the Year, spent the last 8 seasons with the Rams. Vikings are acquiring running back Jordan Mason from the 49ers in exchange for a 2025 pick swap and a 2026 sixth-round pick. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports that Minnesota is signing Mason to a 2-year deal worth over $7 million guaranteed with a max value of $12 million. Meanwhile, 49ers are re-signing fullback Kyle Juszczyk to a 2-year, $8 million contract just days after releasing him. Juszczyk has spent the last 8 seasons in San Francisco. Chiefs are bringing back wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster on a 1-year deal, and the Ravens have agreed to terms with quarterback Cooper Rush on a 2-year deal worth up to $12.2 million per Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
The tournament is here, and Total Wine & More is your slam dunk headquarters. Whether you're cheering courtside from your couch with crisp craft beers, smooth bourbons, or refreshing seltzers, we've got the perfect lineup to keep your watch party winning. And just like your bracket, we've got a lineup full of contenders. Whether you're picking favorites or going for bold upsets, our friendly guides will help you find amazing drinks for every matchup. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
DK on the sports tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Bay starts the offense left of the lane. Get it into the posted up Jones. Jump stop at the baseline. She hits it as she tumbles. Jada picks up her dribble at the right angle to the right block, and Bay, who's double team, kick it out. Knezovic, three is up and down. Paris dribbles out between the rings. Go to the corner, far side. Three is on the way from Jada. She's got it down.
Arizona women's basketball heading into the WBIT. That will be starting on Thursday here in Tucson against Northern Arizona. That was a team that beat the Wildcats earlier this year. Colorado, the team that knocked Arizona out of the conference tournament, they're a number one seed in this, one of the four number one seeds, because there's four regions. The number one seeds in each of the four regions are Virginia Tech, Colorado. James Madison is the number one in the Wildcats region, and St. Joseph's. Those are your four number ones. Crazy to see the name Stanford in this tournament, but
I think
here
we
we
remember,
are.
I went and looked it up. I think the last year that they didn't make it was something crazy, like 88 or 89 or something like that.
Yeah, it's been a long time. UNLV's in this tournament. They have had a lot of success of late, but and I think they played here. Didn't they play here earlier this year? I think the Wildcats beat them earlier in the year. So some familiar Texas Tech, the team that lost 9 in a row near the end of the season, but got a couple of wins near the end. And in the Big 12 tournament, they are as well got a ticket to this particular event. Let's hear from Medea Barnes and the ladies, Isis Bay, Skylar Jones today at McHale Center on their berth in the WBIT.
Yeah, I want to start off by saying we're really excited to play in the postseason. I think obviously you know your goal is always to go to the NCAA tournament. We just fell a little short, so that's unfortunate. But I think that the great thing is the WBIT is a super competitive, a lot better than I even anticipated tournament with a chance for us to go and do something special. And I look back to 2019 when we went in and we won it. So that gave us great momentum, and we're a young team, so giving them some experience in the postseason, I think is special, and playing here in front of our home crowd. So positives to it. But if we're in it, I want to be in it to win it.
6 teams that were in the NCAA who are in the WBIT this year, I think. What does that say about, women's basketball and the shifting, especially when you see a team like Stanford?
Yeah. Which, so a lot more parity in our game. I think, coming from the Pac-12 last year to the Big 12, I think the Pac-12 had a lot more respect, honestly, and it was the premier conference in the country. I think the Big 12 was a great conference, but I think we didn't get as much respect in the NCAA committee as should be. I think Iowa State should not be a play-in game at all when I compare them to other teams that got in, 10th in their conference. So I think that our conference should be respected a lot more because there's really good teams, and some of our teams had injuries at the top and still perform well. So I was surprised. That's why this conference, these are all tournament teams. UNLV is a tournament team, NAU, us, Colorado, Stanford, really good, Middle Tennessee. And you saw Gonzaga, and you saw the rant from Middle Tennessee. Enzo put something online talking about that. So a lot of good teams, so very competitive.
You look at what happened with Stanford this year, and it was very similar to the situation that went down with Washington after you and that crew left, and they made the slip down, and now they're back in. How would you kind of categorize how important coaching is on the women's basketball side, and why maybe we see those dips for women's basketball? I mean, we don't necessarily see those dips for power programs on the men's side.
Basketball, you get 1 or 2 stars. I think it can completely change a program. And I think that it's very difficult. Like Kate Bay is a friend of mine, was my former teammate at WNBA. It is extremely difficult to go after a legend and one of the best to ever coach in this game. It changes the program. And I think that if you look at Kiki back on Stanford, I think they're a top 20 team. So I think that circumstances happen, players move, so much more movement in in college. So it changes things. And I know that Kate, this is going to be a motivator for them. and she's going to do really, really well. Stanford's just going to take a little time because it's different. And you're going to see the same thing that happens at UConn. When Gina retires, there might be slippage, and then it's going to go back up because it's still a place with so much history and tradition.
What do you think about playing in an AU in-state team you guys already played earlier this year?
I think that if you look at the matchups, I think there's a lot of opportunity for storylines. So, we played them, we lost them at their place, a 6th game of the season, so very early without Jada. And it's kind of good to now play them at home. They're a really good team, but we probably won't have Jada still in this game. We don't know yet. So, but I think that our team is much different than we were back then. I think we're a lot better, and so are they. So I think for us, it's a challenge. They're a good team, but we need to step up, and this is the time where you lock in, and it shows what people are made of. Because I think it's one thing playing good early in the season, or it's another thing playing in the postseason, and people show up, and that's when stars play. And so you ride your horses at this time, and a chance for us to get payback. What do you guys think?
I'm excited.
About NAU? What do you think when we saw NAU?
That was a really rough game. They did us really bad at their
They
place.
did. They manhandled us.
Like, they manhandled, 6th game of the season. It was early, but now we get a chance to play them again on our terms, on our turf. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
For Sky.
Think about getting at least one more home game in McHale.
I'm excited. Excited to see the fans. My family's going to come out, so I'm just excited to play McHale again.
ISIS has 30 people per game anyways. Family, she's got a lot of siblings, so they'll all come. Or they split it half and half. For us, it's 2 or 3. For her, it's 20.
For Skylar and Isis both, how much has Adia talked about the 2009 team and how that kind of really set the bar for the beginning of this phase of the program and winning that WNIT? And how much, I guess, do you guys know just about that team and that experience?
Here in 2009?
19.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, damn. I was like, I'm still young, guys. I was barely out of college.
I was 4.
Yeah, I don't know how old, but I don't talk about that.
Yeah, not really.
I don't talk about it a lot because I think for me, it's the expectations and the standards are so high. So for me to reach that it's a great accomplishment now where we're at, but it's not what I aspire to do. So I have not talked about that a lot. I just briefly mentioned it was a great opportunity. It made this city insane. It really drove up our ticket sales. It drove up our fan base, and it was great for the city at that time. I think that our program, the expectations are higher, but I mean, really, they just got that way the last few years. So I think some people will be disappointed that we're not an NCAA tournament, but there's so many factors, and we're a young team. So I think even playing in postseason, because before I got to Arizona, this wasn't even really a thought, not even the WBIT. So I know that the standards are high, but I think that some people have to understand winning's hard, and there's so many factors that go into a program and a program's success. So we should be excited about the WBIT.
Players, I mean, some teams choose not to go to a tournament if it's not the NCAA. For you players, was there ever any thought that you didn't want to play if it was an NCAA?
Not for me. I called it the after season, and we were talking about postseason and what we would do if we didn't get in the NCAA tournament, and so I've been locked in still. Well, my foot's been hurting really bad, so I was like, I don't know, but we made it, and I'm gonna play in it. So I'm gonna thug it out because I don't want to. I'm not a loser. I'm not a quitter. So I didn't really have any second thoughts about it, but because I knew we were going regardless if we made it or not. So in turn, I knew we were gonna play the WIT. So I'm just gonna thug it out.
And I think that's important because it shows what kind of teammate you are. It shows how much pride you have in Arizona because a lot of people wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And so I think that what players don't understand is there are decisions that you make that you live with for the rest of your career. And I think that when you're somewhere, there has to be pride of playing somewhere, and you have to finish what you started. Regardless of your transferring or staying, it doesn't matter. I think that there's a sense of pride, and you play for your teammates, and you play for yourself, and I think everybody pays attention to that, so it only helps you. And I think that at this point, for her playing another week, she's still going to rest her foot after. It doesn't matter. She's playing for her teammates and for Arizona, and I think that you have to respect that. On the men's side, this would not be possible. On the men's side, no one would do it. Everybody would be 1 foot out the door. So I think those are things I respect and love about female athletes and where we're at. But it's not like that in every program.
You You mentioned Jada a little bit, that she may or may not be playing, and then what about Montea too?
Yeah, so it depends on Jada, like the state of her. She's been, same with Sky. She's been having a nagging injury. She's been out of most of the practices for most of the year, only just playing in certain segments. So she'll decide if she's like, if her foot's well enough to play. But it's pretty much been like this the last 2 or 3, or maybe like 5 months.
For who, Jada?
Yeah, probably like the whole season she's been in and out. So she has to decide if she's willing to play in the WBIT. Yeah, Montea's not going to play. So Montea's out. Montea had surgery on the 14th. What was Friday?
Like 3 days ago?
Yeah, what day? What day is Monday?
Today?
Okay, sorry. I don't know what day it is. The 14th she had surgery, and it went well, but she's going to be out a while. She has, a meniscus repair and some other things, so like she wasn't going to be able to play. I was optimistic, but she had MRI and it was not conclusive, so they had to go in and scope it out to see what the situation was. So unfortunately, she'll be out for a while, which is too bad. I'm really sad about that.
Skylar used the term "thug it out." Define that for me as it relates to your basketball life and things that maybe set the tone for that mentality that you have.
And all year, I've been wearing a boot probably since November, like outside of practice. But I'm not the player that doesn't like to practice. Like I literally beg Adia to let me practice. Like she be having to force me to sit out of some stuff because I be in pain. But I say thug it out because like I can play through the pain. It's not like something that's gonna just hold me out. Like I don't want to play. So I've just been playing on it all year, and it hurts. But like it's not to the point where I want to play for my teammates. So
is there an instance in the past where you've had to do that kind of maybe put you in that mind phase that look, if even when I'm hurting, I need to be there?
No, I've never been injured in my life. Like, this is so new for me. Like, I've never been, like, actually, like, hurt before. So this is something different for me. But I think I've handled it pretty well majority of the season.
Well, she has, and I think that it's not going to worsen her injury. So yeah. I think as a player, you have to decide a couple things. Like, do you play for your teammates? Do you play for your school? Because, like, she's going to rest anyways at the end of the season. She has to rest to rest her foot. Doesn't need surgery, and it could possibly, but we're at the end of the season. We're at go time. It's a chance to win something. And it's not going to risk further damage. So I respect the fact she does that because not every player would have decided that.
All right, that is your Arizona women's basketball team. We'll hear a little bit more coming up from them as well as they get set for the WBIT. Again, they'll open up against Northern Arizona on Thursday. They'll get the winner of Belmont and Middle Tennessee on Sunday. That'll be the second round. And then the quarterfinals will be a week from Thursday, the 27th. With the semifinals in Indiana starting March 31st with the championship on April the 2nd.
Women's Basketball Invitation Tournament.
Yes, WBIT, Women's Basketball Invitation Tournament. All right, you know who's giving you an invitation to drive home safely? Dragon Ball.
From the AutoNation Honda BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. We do have that road work starting today on Glen near Country Club, as well as Tucson Boulevard north of Prince Road being closed for water work through May. And we have road work on Sunrise Drive west of Sabino Canyon Road that will take place until 5 p.m. today. Lane closures and restrictions may be affecting you through March 31st. For your weather, we're still at about 82 degrees and continue to cool down until we get to 6. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by eBay. We all got a thing. Yes, even you. If you love fashion, car parts, trading cards, whatever you're into, it's on eBay. So go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay. Things people love.
Hey, it's DK on the Sports Tip. Don't miss a minute of the best Arizona Wildcats coverage in town. Tell your Alexa device to play Wildcats Radio 1290. This is your home of Arizona football, men's basketball, and baseball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
I've been doing this show for decades and decades and decades.
With rapid-fire takes.
Learn how to stop it, learn how to run it, or at least make a good argument. I don't even like the play. I've never fought so hard to defend something I don't like.
Scorching debates.
You can beef about anything you want. Why are you pushing me?
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
Just so you all know, this is no one-off. This is what we're going to get every single day.
Let's go, Jim!
Let's go!
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Don't miss out on any of the action.
Knocked away and grabbed by Jaden Bradley. On the run to the bucket, slam it home.
as the University of Arizona takes on the Big 12 Conference.
Bounce back to Basehart. Drives to the bucket and slams it home. Oh, he took off, Brian. Outside the lane. How did he dunk that? Love, midcourt. Shot is up. Good! Love has hit a three. We're going to overtime.
You're listening to the flagship home of Arizona Wildcats Athletics. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Sure do love this time of year.
Me too. People smiling at each other. Sun is shining.
Everybody singing those holiday songs.
Holiday songs?
We're talking about Alaska vacation season, right?
Yeah, but
there aren't any Alaska vacation songs. Oh, wait.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Like angels from the heavens.
Not even close to that.
But when Alaskan AC performs our exclusive Alaska vacation, it's primed and prepped for the coming summer heat.
And every Alaska vacation comes with our guarantee of no breakdowns all summer long.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Still no angels.
But people love singing it. Come on. If you want your AC to last...
No.
Do we have to sing?
Yes. All summer long with an Alaska
No.
Okay, but don't come crying to me if you Scrooges don't get anything from the Alaska Vacation Bunny.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
One day, while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
You know it, your neighbors know it, and let's face it, the mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be, but thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was, and even better. Dorado Rock Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
This is Zach Gelb with the Sports Minute, sponsored by BetMGM, the sportsbook board in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. St. John's not only were the regular season Big East champs, but on Saturday they defeated Creighton to secure St. John's its first Big East Conference Tournament championship since 2000. And in year two at St. John's, Rick Pitino also won the Big East Coach of the Year award, while having the Big East Player and Most Improved Player of the Year. And we all know the all-time great resume Coach Pitino has, but even for his standards, with what he's done this quickly with the Johnnies is truly unbelievable. I'm Zach Gelb.
Ready to shoot your shot? Log into BetMGM and make your picks in our March Matchups $250K Pick'em for your chance to win a share of bonus bets. It's free to play and easy to get started. Just log into your BetMGM account and predict what will happen at different points throughout the college basketball tournament. You'll earn points with every correct answer, which gives you a shot to win a share of bonus bets. That's right. Just pick what will happen throughout March Matchups, and if you make enough correct picks, you'll win a share of the $250K in bonus bets. You think you know college basketball? Log into BetMGM and make your picks to win a share of $250,000 in bonus bets. It's free to play. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age and older. Arizona only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
One day, while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Don't forget to go grab our app. Wildcats 1290 app. You can get it at wildcatsradio1290.com. You can text me. App, the word app, APP at 520-848-1290. I'll send you a link to download our app. And you can keep up to date on everything that we are covering. It's all over there on our app. In fact, let's find out what we've got on the front page of the app right this very second. Of course, we've got a recap of the Wildcats' loss to the Houston Cougars on Saturday. The Suns are going to be facing the Toronto Raptors tonight. Of course, JW, you know the first thing my wife texted me when she found out the seeding for the Arizona Wildcats.
Something about Ohio is awesome.
No Cavs game for you.
Right, right.
The Cavs are here in the desert on Friday night up at the PHX Center to take on the Suns. So we were hoping we might get that Thursday, Saturday window. So at least she'll go to the game. At least I could sneak up there and go to the game with her to see our Cavaliers, who are one of the best teams in basketball, even though they found a way to lose yesterday at home and snap their franchise record 16-game losing streak to Palo Banchero.
I think it's a 1A, 1B scenario right now.
In terms of?
In terms of the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Cleveland Cavaliers are the two best teams unquestionably in the NBA. As to which team is better, flip a coin.
There's a lot of people that will still say that until you beat Boston, they're the best team. But in terms of record, they're not. But
not healthy, really.
No. So before I got interrupted by our mic snafu or whatever happened in that last hour, what I was saying there was Caitlin Clark is probably not real happy this week. That's because her future father-in-law doesn't have a job anymore. Fran McCaffrey fired by the Iowa Hawkeyes after 15 seasons on the job in Iowa City for Fran McCaffrey, who had a lot of success at Siena before he came over. They just never were able to get deep. They made NCAA tournaments. They went to, I think, like 8 NCAA tournaments.
Yeah.
7 or 8. But they never got very far. They never got out, never made a Sweet 16 with him as head coach. Went to the NIT last year, so didn't make the NCAA tournament this year. And we're 7-13 in the new Big Ten this year. And as a result, Fran McCaffrey is out.
As if West Virginia Mountaineers fans didn't have enough to be sad about today. Rumor is that their new first-year head coach, who did a great job this year, got him right on the cusp, probably should have been in the NCAA tournament. Apparently, DK, he is talking with the Iowa Hawkeyes folks as we speak.
Wow.
And potentially could be up for that vacancy as well.
So Darren
Coaching
DeVries,
carousel.
Darren Dale might be on his way. Well, he was at Drake, right?
He was.
Yeah, which is obviously Iowa, Des Moines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a lot of rep in that state, so that would make a ton of sense. And again, we talked about it at the top of the show he basically turned that roster over and had them in a position to make the NCAA
So, quick
tournament.
question. Hypothetically, Daryl Donald DeBreeze decides he's going to take the Iowa Hawkeyes job. Does the governor of West Virginia hold another press conference and this time talk about how much Iowa is corrupt and is stealing all their head coaches?
Yeah, he'll roll out the Honorable J.B. McCuskey again, the Attorney General.
Backyard deals.
Yeah, exactly. That's rough. But if that's where Darren wants to go. Now, rumors are. Yesterday we were talking about Molly Miller. Now rumors are that the money might be there for Arizona State. She might not be leaving the state. That would be a huge win for the folks in Tempe, if they could get Molly Miller to stay there and coach Arizona State.
And in her, acceptance or her press conference about the postseason, she just mentioned how everybody on her staff could be a head coach, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we'll see. That would be they beat Arizona this year on Arizona's home floor. That's how good they were. They were down. I think they were down 15 in the conference tournament title game. Came back and won. And for all of that, they get Baylor, and that fabulous team with former Arizona Wildcat Nettie Vonleh leading the way. Speaking of college men's basketball, a former coach that we're familiar with, former UCLA boss Steve Alford, who also has Big Ten ties, legendary player out of Indiana.
I got to see him play.
Really?
Yeah, in Bloomington when he played for Indiana versus Fab Five, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah, early 90s, like 1990, I think it was.
Wait, Steve Alford?
Yeah, because he was like 86 to 90 or 90, something like that.
No, I didn't even know he was. I thought he was gone by the time the Fab Five came along.
I thought it was that. No, maybe I'm thinking of the other guy. There's two guys from Indiana who are Mr. Basketball. There was Alford and I'm trying to think of the other guy.
Huh.
Anyway, Steve Alford, probably the most legendary Indiana basketball player. I mean, he's right up there.
Right.
For sure.
He had some interesting things to say about the current state of college athletics, the blueprint of college athletics as it stands right now, he believes, is extremely flawed.
5 years ago, I wasn't, on Conversation saying how much you want to be paid. Never thought that would happen in college basketball. And I've always been a big proponent as the game and money has evolved and changed. I've never been one that said I don't believe student athletes shouldn't be paid. But the way it is now is ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. And it's changed our game. And so you got to adapt. We got to adapt, but every coach, every handshake I have now before games, that's brought up. Every game. Me and the opposing coach are going to talk about portal issues. And, where's academics at? Like, I've talked to my compliance guys. What's APR anymore? You can't control APR. It's a JUCO. You're going to replace 8, 9 guys to a roster every year. The travel time that is across the country in these leagues. It makes no sense for that to be our model, but that is our model. So more than us, do we have to evolve as coaches? Yeah, we got to evolve of how now we recruit. Like, it used to be, hey, what's my degree going to look like? What's your facilities look like? What's your relationship with the team look like? Are you there for all practices? Are you a coach that dives into relationships and you're going to care for my child? You might as well throw all that stuff out because the only question they're concerned about is what they're getting paid in the portal. And to me, that's a terrible model for an 18-year-old because truth be told then, a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds are raising family members now. And that's not what you go off to college for. That's just not. And so that's frustrating because I don't like our model at all. I don't know how that's going to change now that the genie's out of the bottle, but you asked me a pertinent question, and I don't like the model that we currently have because it's not name, image, and likeness. That's not what it is. There's not that many college players that have that eval as a name, image, and likeness. Most of them are getting what they're getting before they ever produce. And that's not what you should have to produce, then you receive. It's a bad lesson. And we shouldn't be sending kids off to college academically or in our profession to teach them bad models for when they're 25 and 26. Like I got 5 players now. NIL's done in 2 months. What happens to them? Are they going to be able to handle the real world now after having NIL for a couple of years at Nevada or wherever they've been? Are they going to really be prepared to handle the things that, oh, I'm not getting that money. I have to go earn that money. We're not really teaching them that. And I think that's something that people way above me have to really look at, because the NCAA and collegiate athletics should be about teaching life lessons, period, through athletics.
That was Steve Alford, who is now the head coach at Nevada. And some pretty interesting things to say. We'll dive into what he had to say coming up in our next hour. What did you think about what you heard there from Steve Alford? 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. Utterly ridiculous, he called the current state of college athletics.
I got my legendary Indiana high school basketball legends mixed up.
Oh,
I was
boy.
thinking of Damon Bailey, who came right after Steve Alford and
There you
also
go.
was Mr. Basketball in Indiana 4 straight years or something like that.
There you go. Whatever happened to Damon Bailey?
He was a coach for a while
Was
as
he?
well.
All right. Yep. Steve Alford. We'll talk about his comments next. Brent Brennan in the 5 o'clock hour as well. And we'll get you ready for some Suns basketball potentially tonight against, who did I say they were playing? Memphis? Is that who they're playing this evening? I just had it on my app. See, download my app because my app will tell you all the things I can't tell you. They are playing the Toronto Raptors. That's right, Toronto. Not a very good team. Should get a win. If you lose tonight, I think we can just cancel Christmas or the postseason, whichever comes first. DK, the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW of Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. We have another fire near the Old Spanish Trail Motel. This is causing a lot of slowing right now on I-10 westbound as you near the Benson Highway. Do be aware that there will be a lot of slowing on the I-10 here, as well as be safe because of the smoke that will be in the air as emergency vehicles try to go and take care of that fire. We're at 81 degrees right now around town. By 9 o'clock, though, we'll be in the 60s here for later tonight. I'm Dragon Ball with you, Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at CoolWillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball radio broadcast. 2 powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. CoolWillies.com.
Don't miss out on any of the action as the University of Arizona takes on the Big 12 Conference.
Bradley for 3. Jaden Bradley has come alive in the second half.
You're listening to the flagship home of Arizona Wildcats athletics. Wildcats Radio 1290.
If you're feeling overwhelmed by the thought of a home remodel, don't stress. The Window Depot is here to help. At the Window Depot, we're your one-stop warehouse for everything you need for your next remodel. Windows? Check. Doors? Got it. Cabinets, countertops, and everything in between, you'll find it all here at the lowest prices. Whether it's a kitchen, bathroom, or whole home makeover, our experienced designers are ready to bring your dream home to life, all at unbeatable prices. Find a location near you or shop online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-292-7815. 800-292-7815. Again, that's 800-292-7815.
We are your home for all things Arizona basketball. 3 hours of pregame.
They're not going to finish the season 19-1, guys.
2 hours of postgame.
I guarantee you, Coach told the guys don't come over and help on him.
And all the action in between. Wildcats Radio 1290.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus Media station. Your home for the National Football League, starting with the Hall of Fame game through the regular season into the playoffs and ending in the Super Bowl. Wildcats Radio 1290.
DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hour number 3 of our program. Thank you so much. Hope your week is off to a great start. Hope you're getting ready for some St. Patrick's Day fun or are already involved in some St. Patrick's Day fun. 520-848-1290 is our number. We will not have a show tomorrow, but we'll be back on Wednesday, Thursday, and then, of course, Friday will be a game day. Arizona men's basketball in Seattle for the NCAA tournament, and they'll be taking on the Akron Zips from my part of the country. Looking forward to seeing Akron in Arizona for sure. All right, before we went to the top of the hour, we heard from Steve Alford, longtime college basketball coach, currently at Nevada. He had some things to say about the current makeup of college athletics and NIL and conversations with kids about how much they're going to be paid, being what's at the forefront now of recruiting. And he's like a lot of coaches that we've seen get out of it. Jim Larranaga down in Miami and a bunch of other guys have said, adios, I'm done. I'm not dealing with this anymore. This is not what I signed up for.
Who's the Virginia coach, right? He quit right before the season.
Yeah.
And for that very reason. Just didn't want to be involved in this era.
Exactly. Let's talk to Jason about that. You're on DK on the Sports Tip.
Hey, DK, a couple of quick things. First of all, I've never really liked Steve Alford because he was at UCLA, and I just despise UCLA.
There you go.
I've been a Wildcat fan since I went to my first game when I was 3 years old, and my family has had tickets for about 49 years.
Wow.
But I will tell, and a real funny, quick thing. I used to be a ball boy for the U of A basketball team.
Okay.
So I don't like Steve Alford, but I will tell you this. I have to agree with him. The landscape of the NCAA and men's college basketball is completely and utterly disgusting with NIL deals. I don't think that they should. I don't think that they should be paid. You know, they're already basically getting paid because they're on. Most of them are there on scholarship. So they're already basically initially they're getting paid because they're not getting money in their hands, but they're getting paid basically to go to school there, at the U of A or wherever. And I have to agree with everything that Steve Alford said. So I will let you guys delve into that, but you guys have a fantastic show, and I listen to you pretty much every day on my drive home. So keep up the good work, and thank you for taking my call.
Awesome, Jason. Thank you for calling. We got to come up with a phrase, J-Dub, for our good callers like they do on Jim Rome Show. Rock him.
Right.
Rock him.
I agree. I think the ship sailed, obviously, right? I mean,
no. The genie is out of the bottle.
Yeah, you can't put that thing back in there. I mean, the O'Bannons really kind of started a lot of this. Topic has been around since before the O'Bannon brothers were at UCLA. But the idea that athletes in college will be paid it's over, it's done with. That's happening. The biggest takeaway I had from Coach Alford there was what he said about giving money based on potential. And I'll tell you that the worst era of the NBA was 96 to 2006. Are you familiar?
96 to 2000.
So what happened was a guy named Kevin Garnett was the first player drafted out of high school since Moses Malone. Kobe Bryant came very shortly after that. I think it was the next year. And based on those two people's outrageous talent and how good they were in the NBA right off the jump as 18, 19-year-olds, a lot of NBA teams took flyers on high school seniors from the late 90s until about 2005, 2006, when the one-and-done rule was put in place. What ended up happening is there was a huge lack of fundamentals, and the NBA was basically unwatchable for a large period of time because you have all these teams with rotations full of guys that they drafted super high. We draft a guy in the lottery, DK, out of high school as an 18-year-old, you got to put him in there to see what he can do. For every one Kobe that there were 20 guys drafted that had no business being in the NBA. This whole idea that Steve Alford said there of merit-based NIL, the idea of having a high school player who's Cooper Flagg's a great example. There's no doubt Cooper Flagg was going to come in and dominate at this level. He's that good. But there's a lot of guys who you're not really who have the potential to be great. And then you have these $2 million, $3 million deals as 18-year-olds. Look at A.J. Storr, who transferred from Wisconsin over to Kansas. 17-point scorer at Wisconsin. Could barely even get in the rotation at Kansas. I think merit-based, I've always felt like a guy like Damon Stoudemire back in the day should be able to go to some used car dealership and stand up on a stage and say, come on down to this car place and buy a car from Big Joe, right? Because he's famous, and why shouldn't you be able to use your fame to make a little bit of money? I don't have a problem with that at all. But the idea of direct, first of all, we're going to have revenue sharing. We don't even know how that's going to work. But the idea of giving a lot of players who have never proven at this level that they can be a part of the revenue generating machine of that university, these large sums of money, then you have situations like we've played Umar Ballo. Who's the other player we played from?
Coleman Hawkins. So Coleman Hawkins, Umar Ballo, lots of money, didn't get it quite done, and then they're getting death threats in their DMs and all that stuff. So I don't know. There is no right solution to this. And there's, of course, 40-50% of the sporting population fan base that thinks no college player should ever get paid for anything. Another 50% who think that they should. It's happening. It's already happened, right, DK? Yeah, it's definitely happening. That's for sure.
So the idea of,
I think, but I guess the thing for me has always been, and again, I'm all fine with the athletes, getting a piece of the pie. But I think this whole conversation started about, and it goes back to, what Steve Alford was saying. It goes back to name, image, and likeness. I mean, I'm playing for your school. My jersey's being sold in the store, but I'm not getting any money for that.
I think the big ominous for that was the video games.
Right.
Like
exactly.
They had the UCLA teams and the O'Bannon guys on the cover of a game that sold 20 million copies, and they didn't see a cent of it.
Exactly. I mean, and I get there absolutely should be payment in that respect, if you're using my image if my jersey's in the gift shop, the McHale gift shop, I should definitely be getting a cut of that. And somehow it quickly escalated to essentially athletes being paid salaries, and that's, I think, where one, things got out of control, where a lot of these coaches now don't want to be a part of it. And the other side of that is that there's really been no regulations put into place regarding any of this. And I think that's the other part that coaches have an issue with.
You'd have to have your head under a rock to think that there weren't shady boosters over the last 50 years giving money under the table to either a player directly or to one of their relatives in order to entice them to come to a university for basketball or football, one of the main revenue-generating sports. It's been going on forever, and it seems like name, image, likeness, selling your jersey in a store flipped into, let's have our NIL collective pay $3 million for this person. It feels like the folding in of that old shady booster under the table, I got a briefcase with $3 million in it if you come to this school, just legalized to some degree. And yeah, I mean, again, I'm too dumb to even get into the conversation of how revenue sharing and how NIL will grant long-term affect college basketball. I've always liked the pristine nature of amateur athletics. We're already seeing the results. We're already seeing players who are paid exorbitant amounts of money for their talent. They've earned it. And they're also seeing the results of being considered to be professionals, DK. And when you get paid a large sum of money to play a game that you love, it suddenly becomes no longer, I'm in this for the love of the game. I'm in here to put my university on the map by making the deepest run in NCAA tournament history for the program, or any of those things that we've done in past decades. Now, all of a sudden, it's, well, you didn't do this, and you got paid this amount of money. What the heck, man? Now I'm going to come after you, come after your family on social media and all this. It's just a big mess.
And in terms of the revenue share, which is coming, I mean, one of the things that we're hearing is obviously just say like certain teams there's going to be a percentage of a total number that each team is going to get. And so let's say like some women's basketball teams are probably, maybe they're going to get like $500,000 that they've got to spread out across their entire roster. Well, how do you do that? I mean, is everybody? Yeah, I mean, everybody's not going to get an even cut of
It's easy. They have a free throw shooting contest.
You're going to get right. It's like somebody, you know, I would imagine your best players are going to get 50 to 100. I mean, how are you going to parse out? It's kind of like the scholarships. It's going to be very much like the scholarships for the old scholarship system for the revenue sports, where you got 12 scholarships for 25 people. And now you're going to get $500,000 for 12 scholarship athletes. How are you going to parse that out? That's where we're at right now in college athletics.
Dragon Ball, if you were going to be given an NIL for NAU, what sport would that have been in?
Well, I probably, without any kind of athletic capability, I probably would have had to try it out for at least the Quidditch team, because that was something that we had.
Quidditch?
No, I bet.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was that era. Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
even know what that is. What is Quidditch?
Quidditch is
It's a wizard sport.
It's a wizard
card game.
No, it's a fictional sport from the world of Harry Potter. But some avid fans of the book decided
is that an e-sport?
No, that's you're out in the field and you're running around with a piece of PVC pipe, playing as a broom.
It's kind of like lacrosse on a broomstick.
Yes.
Oh wow.
With magic.
It's a very bizarre game. I had to do a couple of games of broadcasting it, which I can tell you is very complicated when you have to go ahead and realize that the golden snitch, which is the thing that you have to catch to win the game,
the golden snitch?
Correct.
Yes, yeah.
You had to catch the golden snitch to win the game. That's a person in a yellow jumpsuit that can go anywhere they want. And we at NAU had the benefit of having free bus passes, so our golden snitch more often than not would disappear on the Flagstaff student bus and then just disappear. So we wouldn't know where they would go. And the game could have been done 20 minutes ago, but we don't know that till they bring him back. So
wait, who's they?
the people that are in charge of catching the snitch. There are 2 players, one from each team, that are meant to do that. So
I'm going to go out on a limb really quick here and say that the NIL fund for that would be $27.16.
Which is probably what I was earning when I was delivering the newspaper. So I'd probably just keep my day job rather than try to get the athletic NIL deal from that.
That sounds like that's. I don't know if you ever. You guys are probably too young to have ever seen the movie Tag, the assassination game.
Yeah,
it's a movie from like the late '80s where it's basically and it got the movie came out and then it got big on college campuses when I was in school. People would play it, and basically it was like you would get a name, and then you'd have to go. You had like a gun with like a one of the guns with like the things that you would shoot out with the suction cups and that thing.
Yeah,
and you would go find the person you were supposed to assassinate, and you would assassinate them, and then you would get the name that they had. And then you would go find that person, and then the whole movie was the basis is that the people were actually getting killed because some nut job was actually shooting people.
Wasn't that a movie where it was like kids playing, like people were playing it, but then it got wrapped up in some kind of spy situation or whatever?
No, it wasn't. It was just it was an actual lunatic who just was killing. He was actually killing. Other than just doing the snap pop. The suction cup gun, he was actually shooting and killing them.
It was the 80s. I mean, every other movie was out of lunatics.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what this Quidditch sounds like to me. Other than either that or something that the grown-ups play on Thanksgiving. In the back.
Sure. Probably, yeah. Something along those lines.
All right. Dragon Ball is here all week. Be sure you tip the waitresses and waiters because that's what it's all about. And please do that if you're going to be out tonight celebrating St. Patrick. Are you a St. Patrick's Day celebrator, Dragon Ball?
For me, I don't drink, so
that's
I'm not
true.
really
You
that
don't
big.
do that, right?
But I do occasionally. I look for a nice shepherd's pie every so often.
Oh, a shepherd's pie. Okay. Well, your guy J-Dub, he was pulling out the corned beef and potatoes.
I've sent pictures to you, DK, of shepherd's pie I've made in the past. I will say that's a British thing, and they're traditionally British and Irish people have had some issues over the years.
This is true.
Yeah, but no, shepherd's pie is great. I love shepherd's pie.
All right, Dragon Ball, make sure everybody gets to wherever they're going safely for St. Patrick's Day.
Well, from the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Currently, we have an accident with possible injuries being reported over at North Stone Avenue and East University Boulevard. Most of the slowing here on Stone, but do be aware of that as you approach the cross streets. And we have an incident with property damage with West Valencia and South Cardinal, although this looks like it may be clearing up here in a little bit, but still most of the slowing that I saw on here on the radar was focused on Valencia. And right now we're looking at about 81 degrees, and we're only going to get cooler right now as we're finally going to drop into the 70s here once we reach 7 o'clock, or 6 o'clock rather. And I'm Dragon Ball with your Kim FM, of your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Pro Savings Days are back at Lowe's. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get exclusive deals now, like saving $30 on a Little Giant Extra Light Plus 5-foot aluminum stepladder and more. Valid 3/17 to 3/19. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
The jungle has moved afternoon, so grab your best Tucson tuxedo and join us on the Jim Rome Show weekdays from noon till 3 p.m. right here on the flagship home of your Arizona Wildcats, Wildcats Radio 1290.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Download our app. It slaps. Nobody covers Southern Arizona sports like we do. Don't miss out on any of the highlights, stories, and analysis. The flagship home for Arizona Wildcats athletics, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Westwood One presents Today in Women's Sports. Selection Sunday is in the books, and the NCAA March Madness bracket is set. The UCLA Bruins are the #1 overall seed for the first time in program history. They avenged 2 regular season losses to USC by defeating them in the Big Ten Conference Championship. Speaking of the Trojans, they also secured a top seed. Head coach Lindsey Gottlieb joined us this week and expressed her excitement for a potential 4th matchup with their SoCal arch rivals.
Says a lot about the Big Ten, says a lot about the state of LA women's basketball. There's a lot to have happen before that. But if we face, again for the 4th time, it would be because it's in Tampa, and that would be a good place to be.
The other 2 #1 seeds belong to the Texas Longhorns and defending champion South Carolina. The most decorated program in the sport, the UConn Huskies, will be a 2 seed. With Today in Women's Sports, I'm Jody Jackson on Westwood One.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
DK on the sports tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Before we get out of here tonight, we'll give you your BetMGM Network top plays. But right now, we want to hear from the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats football team. Brent Brennan met with the media today to discuss the beginning of spring practice, his second spring here at the University of Arizona. Let's find out what the coach had to say.
What's up? It's good to see everybody. Thank you for being here. First of all, I got to tell you, I have notes for today because I think I want to get it right. This has been a great off season, and there's so much going on at the U of A right now. I'm so excited for Tommy Lloyd and our men's basketball team. Their great run in the Big 12 tournament. All the other sports that are performing at a really high level. It's really exciting. I'm excited to see what Tommy and that team does in the NCAA tournament. But I think it's important I give you guys an idea before we get to questions about kind of what our priority has been in the building this offseason. And really there's been three things. The first is cementing our culture. The second is cementing our personnel. And the third is kind of cementing our performance. And when I talk about cementing our culture, I'm talking about our everyday process-driven approach and Redline. I know you guys have seen Redline on the field and around the building, but that's something that's been a huge focus for us. And when we talk about cementing our personnel, that started with building the staff, the men that are going to lead our football team, and making sure we had everybody in the right position that gives us a chance to win football games in the fall. And then we had to build our team. And so far at the mid-year, we added 34 new players, 27 high school and 27 portal and 7 high school players. And then we have another 20 high school / junior college players joining us at the end of May. So that's going to be 48 new players on a roster of 105. That is a big number, right? And when we identified these players, the conversations with the coaching staff was intense, and it was very clear. We were looking for guys that were tough, that love football, and want to be here at the University of Arizona. Yes, they had to have the talent, they had to be good enough, all those things. But those three questions had to be definitively answered for me to say, let's bring them in. And I think we've done a great job of adding really, really good pieces to our team. And then that last piece is cementing the performance. And that started with our strength and conditioning staff and Coach Carroll and what that has been the last 8 weeks. And there's been big gains in that space. 500 pounds of muscle in transition has changed over from what we were at the end of last season to where we are at right now. That is exciting to me. This is what we're doing at Arizona football right now. This is everything we are all about. Cementing our culture, cementing our personnel, and cementing our performance. What do y'all got?
Regarding the spring game, a lot of schools around the country are canceling their games, but you guys are kind of doing the spring game with a twist. Can you go ahead and just talk about the details regarding that?
Yeah, the spring game is going to be an incredible day here. We're going to have an Easter egg hunt for little kids. It's going to be an awesome day of community engagement. We've got a beer garden for the fans on the field, right? Which sounds like a good time to me, getting close to the action. And then on top of that, we're going to play some football. We're going to have kind of a practice, but we'll have some live stuff mixed in there. And that'll get more defined for us as we go, right? Because we got to see where we're at health-wise. Like, I think the days of splitting the team in half and having, the 1s and the 4s play the 2s and the 3s, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. Because I just think there's too much invested in the players on the field. And it's complicated because there's a fine line there. You got to get ready to play. But you also need to make sure that you protect your most valuable assets on a football team.
How much of spring ball do you think you can actually do scheme with so many new players? Or is it a lot of just getting to know each other and figuring each other out for most of it?
No, we are diving hard into scheme. And I think that's one of the things that, obviously with Coach Gonzalez, there's some carryover. Right now, and I'm excited about him in that role as part of the building the staff and moving the pieces in place and cementing our personnel, right? His experience as a play caller, the fact that he's been in so many battles and been in so many situations, the fact that he's an expert in the 3-3-5, but then also has been like in and around in enough football where he has experienced being in 3 down and 4 down, and that gives us some variation. And I love the style that he's accustomed to, which is just an aggressive attacking defense. And so, a lot of those things have already started with our players. And then on top of that, when you talk about Seth Deggy, I think you guys are going to love the energy he brings to the practice environment. And he's a creative guy, but he is all about explosive offense. And when he talks to you, like, you need to put a tally on how many times he says explosive. I'm going to say it's double digits, right? Because that's what he's all about. He feels like it's a mindset and something that our team is going to lean into and attack as we go.
As far as like position battles go, is there any particular position that you're looking forward to most? And do you think you will have a good idea of some of those positions, or will that be something that you guys carry into the training camp?
I would say every situation like that is different in terms of what you're going to say. Is this guy the starter or is this guy the starter, right? You know what I mean? Like, Noah Fifita is our starting quarterback, right? But I'm excited to see those other quarterbacks play. And I think the most interesting position battle in my mind, I think, is going to be at wide receiver. Obviously, we added a bunch of really good players there. And so I think the competition there is going to be intense. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And there's some guys that established themselves as pretty good players for us last year, but how much can we elevate that group? And that's what the competition of spring practice is about, is giving everybody a chance to be on the field and prove it and attack it.
Coach, in terms of Noah Fifita, what was some of the positive feedback you gave to him, and what was also some of the constructive criticism that you offered him to allow him to be in a position to grow this year?
I think the best thing about Noah Fifita is that he is his hardest critic. You know, there are so many things that when you watch film with him, he is almost having some of the coaching points, you know, with you, because he can see it. He knows what that is. The exciting part for me is that I think Coach Deggy is going to be a different voice for him. He's going to be a guy that played the position at an extremely high level, right? You can already see their bond developing and growing as we're around the building every day. So that part's exciting to me.
As you mentioned, Noah is established as a starting quarterback. Given that dynamic, was it difficult to find someone who was willing to come in here knowing that they probably wouldn't, you know, I'm talking about Braden Locke, of course, knowing that they wouldn't be the starting quarterback unless there was an injury situation? Was that a difficult needle to thread at all?
I don't think so, because I think that would have been 5 years ago when guys couldn't transfer, but now I think the world's way different. I think the opportunities are more like plentiful, right? And because you have two portals a year, you have like multiple opportunities. And the hardest position is quarterback, because only one guy gets to play, right? But the thing that's going to be great about Braden is that he's going to push the hell out of Noah Fifita. I promise you that. The kid's a competitor. And so are the other guys that we added at that position. They're young, but they're going to be a lot of fun. And so that's going to be fun to watch, as that thing kind of, you know, moves and develops over spring practice, because we haven't had a chance to be in any of those situations with all of them yet, except for Noah.
Ryan? What can you tell us about some of the hires that you have just recently made to fill out your staff?
Well, they're here. You can probably say hi to them. I'm sorry?
I wanted to hear.
Well, so Coach Navarro, when I was looking for somebody for the special teams coordinator role, I was looking for someone that was passionate about that part of it, about that part of the football game. I think lots of times on coaching staffs, you have an assistant coach, because I lived it. I was stuck in that space when I was an assistant a long time ago, working for Coach Tomey, right? I was the receiver coach, and I was also the special teams coordinator. And so you're just splitting time, and it makes it super complicated because there's a lot of work to do, right? And so I was looking for someone that is going to just be solely focused on special teams and making us elite in that world. And when he came in here to spend some time and interview with us, the energy he had in that meeting room, everybody felt it. The command he had of what he was talking about was so powerful. And then the first time he talked to the team, he lit that room on fire. And I was like, here we go. This is what we're talking about. So someone that is an expert at this, right? He's done it at a high level, right? He's done it at the University of Texas. He's done it at USC. Like he's had to coach the kicking game in big time situations, but he's also been coaching for long enough where he's not new to this, right? And he knows how to teach, and he knows how to command a room, and I'm excited about that.
Another one that you brought in is someone that fans here are very familiar with, in Ronnie Palmer, who had a lot of success as a head coach at the junior college level. What do you envision his role being?
I think anytime we can bring somebody back into the program that played here and is part of the legacy here of Arizona football, I think that's powerful. We got to know Ronnie because when he was in Monterey, they were right down the street from us. And so we would see him, he would come to our clinic, we would recruit his players, so we had a good relationship with him already. The fact that we were looking for a defensive line coach to work alongside Coach Salavea, the fact that they both played that position here, like that kind of energy that they have when they get together, because they both played that position at the University of Arizona, it's powerful. And they can talk about this place to recruits and their families in unique ways that a lot of us can't, because we didn't go to school here. But those guys are powerful with that. And so Ronnie's going to be a great addition. Obviously, we saw him do an excellent job at Monterey. And so, that addition, you also have somebody who has been a head coach, who has coached lots of different things and has had lots of different roles. And I think there's value on a staff that way. He's used to dealing with the whole team, right? He's used to dealing with the offensive and defensive players and specialists. It's not just one side of the ball. So he's going to be a great addition.
Obviously, Coach, you've got to replace probably maybe one of the best kickers in school history. How excited are you about that battle specifically?
Well, that's going to be a lot of fun. And, I think one of the things that we saw from Michael last year was that, Jed signed him as a place kicker, right? But then he came in here and he was our starting punter because Tyler Loop was playing so well. I'm excited to see what Tyler Loop does in this draft, man. People are excited about him. But I digress. So Michael has a really strong leg and he's very talented. And so we're excited to get to work with him. And then we're also going to add some other pieces there as we go, right? We still have, 6 months before this thing kicks off in the season. So now that we have Coach Navarre in place and some of those conversations about specialists and how we're going to work all that, that some of that will get defined over spring, right? But we have a lot of faith in Michael. He's a very, very talented kicker.
Are there specific differences in the special teams that you're looking for than what you had last year?
Well, I think for me, having someone that's their job, just the kicking game, kind of like the NFL model, right? A special teams coordinator in the NFL doesn't also coach the tight ends. He coaches special teams, and that's what I was looking for.
All right, that was the head coach of your Arizona Wildcats today, Brent Brennan. We'll have that up. You can find it on our website, Wildcats Radio 1290, if you missed any of what the head coach had to say. Spring practice begins tomorrow, 15 workouts for the team as they head into the showcase, which will be coming up on Saturday, April the 19th. Again, it's going to be a little bit different than it has. It's not going. We are gone from the days where, like Coach said, you split everybody up into two teams and you actually play a simulated four-quarter situation. It'll be like a practice, but there will be some elements of team that the folks can see. Gates are going to open for that event. Again, it's going to be a nighttime event again, much like it was last year. And it'll start at 6 o'clock. Gates will open at 5. There's going to be live music, Bear Down Takeover, on-field kids zone, a lot of stuff for the adults as well. Post-game movie on the field. It'll be selected by a fan vote. Pride of Arizona, Spirit Squad, everybody's going to be out there. So it should be a whole lot of fun on Saturday, April the 19th. That is obviously also Easter weekend. So they're not expecting, they said they're probably not expecting as many alums to come back because it's holiday weekend, but there'll still be quite a few guys that'll come in for that weekend. DK on the Sports Tip, much more coming up for you straight ahead. Our BetMGM top plays are next. Dragon Ball getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. You have their paving work along Park Avenue between Fort Lowell to the north of Speedway starting up today. Again, they will have traffic reduced to one lane with a pilot car directing you through the work zone. Total completion expected by mid-April, but you can use either Mountain Avenue or Euclid and First Avenue to get through this work instead. For your weather, we're currently at 81, but we'll be dropping out of the 80s here pretty soon here as we get towards 77 by 6. I'm Dragon Ball with you, Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Shop Mattress Firm's Upgrade Your Sleep sale. See a sleep expert and get matched with your perfect bed so you sleep better at night. You'll even get 120 nights to love it or your money back. Restrictions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Progressive understands that bond between you and your boat. But imagine if something happened to it. Without the boat, you're just Tina with too much boat knowledge. Sure, it's helpful on the water, but with no boat, you're someone who talks way too much about knots, and no one cares what a jib is anyway. Boat Tina could get away with it because she has a boat. So make sure your boat is insured. Get Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer, and then go back to being you, Tina, who owns a boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Don't miss out on any of the action.
7-7 bottom of the ninth. Wildcats would love to end it right here.
As the University of Arizona takes on the Big 12 Conference.
2-2, and it's lined to left for a base hit. Bryfogel's going to be waved around third. Here comes the throw from Hartman. It's headed home. He slides. He's safe, and the Wildcats have won it. Mikalakis, RBI single.
You're listening to the flagship home of Arizona Wildcats Athletics. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rockin' K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Quick, she's over here. I don't know. I just found her like this.
Yeah, she's banged up, but she'll be fine.
Oh, thank God. What can I do?
Just need the keys. And, sir?
Yeah?
Your car's gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Mobile detailing from Recon Auto Detailing. Tired of wear and tear on your vehicle or just tired of cleaning it yourself? We'll come to you. Book with us online and see why we have over 1,100 5-star reviews. Recon Auto Detailing. ReconDetail.com. Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
This is Zach Gelb with the Sports Minute, sponsored by TGL, presented by SoFi. Tune in every week for TGL matches. The quest for the SoFi Cup begins tonight as we have one semifinal matchup between the Los Angeles Golf Club and the New York Golf Club. The New York Golf Club is the 4th seed, featuring Xander Schauffele, Ricky Fowler, and Cameron Young. The Los Angeles Golf Club is the number 1 seed, featuring Colin Morikawa, Tommy Fleetwood, and Sahith Theegala. And you can watch tonight's semifinal matchup at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. I'm Zach Gelb.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more. The best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, it is that time of day that you've all been waiting for. It's time for your BetMGM Network top plays. And they are brought to you, as always, locally by Oral Ford at 3950 West Highway 77 in Oracle.
Time to take the Tar Heels? I'm Joe Ostrowski here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM Network. As analysts continue to trash North Carolina for making the tournament, they've moved from a 3.5 to 4.5 point favorite tomorrow against San Diego State. UNC's quad one record is awful, but most of that damage early in the season, and their only losses in the last month were to Duke. I'm Joe Ostrowski from the BetMGM Network. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly.
Hi, Alex Medina, owner of Oral Ford. I was just saying to my ad agency the other day, if I could just get people to go to my website, they'd see the transparency. They'd see I don't have dealer add-ons, that my advertised discounts are on all my vehicles, not just a select few. I said to him, if I could just get people to go to oralford.com, they'd see the rebates are crystal clear and you save thousands with 2% lower taxes. It's all right there. My website is oralford.com.
All right, so Carolina, obviously we've been talking about Carolina all day. They got into the tournament. A lot of folks did not think that they deserved that opportunity, but Bubba found a way, as Bubbas usually do. And they are a 4.5 point favorite over San Diego State. So
sounds like you're insinuating something nefarious went on behind the scenes there.
Hey, if there's a guy named Bubba involved, I think it's probably something definitely
backyard
nefarious.
Deals, y'all.
Yeah, y'all, exactly. So there's 2 11-seed games and 2 16-seed games for the first 4. And that is one of the 11-seed games, San Diego State, North Carolina. The other one is Texas and Xavier. So Sean Miller's crew is playing in their own backyard in Dayton. I'm going to imagine that there'll be a lot of their supporters there. And then the 2 16-seed games will be Alabama State against St. Francis. Alabama State is the favorite there. And American against Mount St. Mary's. And American is a 2.5 point favorite there. Xavier is a 3.5 point favorite currently over Texas. Those will be the first 4 games beginning tomorrow night. We actually did pretty good. Well, actually, no, we didn't do that well over the weekend with our bet MGM picks. So they had Michigan State to win the Big Ten tournament. That did not happen, so we lost on that one. However, Brad Evans, who's on in the mornings, gave us Florida to win the SEC, and that was actually plus 230. So we won $31 on that one with our 1290 bet because the Florida Gators did indeed beat the Tennessee Volunteers to win the SEC tournament. We lost on Georgia, minus 3.5 over Oklahoma. The Sooners won that game by 6. I believe that was an SEC semifinal game the other night. They actually had the Kansas-Arizona game going back to last week. They had Kansas. They said take Kansas and minus the 3.5 points. Obviously, that was a loser as Arizona won by 11. And we did win on the North Carolina-Duke game. They had North Carolina plus the 7.5. And I believe that game ended up being like a 3 or 4 point game in favor of the Duke Blue Devils. So we won on that. So we lost about as much as we won because we got a little bit extra on that SEC.
Real quick, one of the main reasons why a lot of people are curious why North Carolina made it DK is because the ACC traditionally is one of the 2 or 3 strongest conferences year in, year out. This year they got 3 bids. It's the least number of bids they've gotten in 25 years, meaning that's a down conference. It's not a very good conference this year. And the Tar Heels finished 13-7. You know what I mean? So, like, there's a relative comparison there to not a very strong ACC, and the Tar Heels didn't do well. So that's where most of the topic comes from today is a historically bad ACC and a not great Tar Heel team.
Rory McIlroy won the Players' Championship in a playoff today. And I think they played 3 holes, and he won on the 3rd hole. Did Rory McIlroy, so congratulations to Rory. We actually had Keegan Bradley at plus 500 on that particular game. I didn't see what Keegan finished in this. Let me look. He finished tied for 20th, so he was minus 4. The number to get into the playoff was minus 12. So Rory McIlroy beat J.J. Spaun to win the Players' Championship. That is your BetMGM Network top play. You have University of North Carolina minus 4.5 tomorrow night over San Diego State. It is brought to you locally by Oral Ford at 3950 West Highway 77 in Oracle. Let's head out to the phones and hear from Danny. You're on DCAM the Sports Tip, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. A great show as always. I appreciate you guys.
Danny, take the Tar Heels.
And 9 others.
Take the Tar. Oh, and 9 others. You're playing a big parlay, huh?
You know, a lot
10
of
parlay Danny.
10 parlay.
A lot of people are picking USD, the Tritons over Michigan, though.
Oh, okay.
Seeing that around.
Yeah.
But hey, so I just wanted to chime in. As far as like NIL, quote unquote. As a fan, Tommy Lloyd signed with us in April 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it became put into play July 1st. And I wonder how many times he's gone, so how does this work for us? But my point is, as a fan, I'm always wondering, because look where we're at right now. I look at it moving forward and go, of the players that can return, that will want to return, okay, how is that handled? And then, you've got 2 of the top 15 high school players who aren't committed, who were on their, quote, short list, right? Braden Burries and Koa Pete, and then the transfer portal. So I just
I don't think Koa's committed yet, right? He's not committed yet, J-Dub, is he?
No, he said it. I mean, a lot of experts have had him like 80% to Arizona for a long time now.
Yeah, well, he and Burries. But I'm just saying, all of these add up. It's kind of like we're going into, Dick's Sporting Goods. Here's how much money we have. What can we get? And it's not. I'm not complaining. It's just there are schools like Texas might be a good one. Where they're probably said to have a lot more donor money, and it's disconcerting. I appreciate that you guys played that. Steve Alford, what he had to say, because to me, from just a fan that watches a game, I'm like, yeah, that all makes sense what he's saying. But I don't hold it in any way against our school or Tommy or our coaching staff. It is what it is, but it's got to crash at some point, because it can't just be whoever's got the most money is always going to win.
Yeah, I always loved the fact that, you had guys commit to Arizona because they loved Lute Olson, or they loved the legacy of guard play, or maybe they saw Steve Kerr cut down the nets. And in whatever reason it was, it had to do with legacy, had to do with maybe you really like the uniform, it's a Nike school, you like warm weather, all those reasons. And now in the back of your mind, it's, well, did they choose just because they're getting the most money to come here? And, that just makes it completely different, Danny.
Yeah, it's just it's disconcerting, as a fan. I know you just had Brennan on. I know if the football stadium was full, that might well help the coffers too, but it's just independently, I always look at it and go, and that's what I'm thinking right now. Who do we want back that can come back? And then how much on top of that, because you read articles and it says, we're supposedly commensurate with Big 12 schools in roughly $3 million for basketball money. Well, we don't really know. You know what I mean? Hey, the last thing I wanted to say to you guys is enjoy your day off tomorrow. And also I wanted to put in there too that, the fact that we lost in the championship game is irrelevant. We played very strong, given the kind of but I'm really, really glad. I didn't know Caleb had family in Kansas City. I thought it was all St. Louis. And the fact that he was able to bring so many of his family members in for that, I think in the very least that's what he deserved.
Yeah.
After 5 years of playing.
Yep. Danny, always appreciate your thoughts. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day out tomorrow. Talk to you Wednesday.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely. Let's give you your Desert Diamond Casino replay for today. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook. It is Arizona's best bet. The Lakers beat the Suns on national television. Nothing worse than losing on national TV.
It's a rough first quarter, DK.
Yeah. What were the 23-2 run?
23-2 run, yeah.
Yeah, they outscored them 31-15. Let's hear from the head coach on that first quarter run by the Purple and Gold.
It's always 23-2. It's going to be both ends of the court. Offensively, we were late in the clock a lot. Our early execution wasn't good enough. Our late execution wasn't good enough. Credit to their defense. Their activity, their pressure, I think had a big influence. And then offensively, I think Luka was creating shots. He got some himself. We had a breakdown in transition. He had a wide open one. So it was a little bit of everything in a 23-2 run.
33-11-8 for Luka ends the Lakers' 4-game losing streak. Suns are back at it again tonight at home against the Toronto Raptors. That's going to wrap up our show. Thanks to everybody that joined us. Thanks to Dragon Ball. Thanks to J-Dub. Most of all, thanks to you for listening. My name is David Kelly. That's our time for tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Actually, not tomorrow. We'll talk to you Wednesday. We'll take tomorrow off. Wednesday, 3 o'clock. DK on the Sports Tip right here on Wildcats Radio 1290. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. A couple of projects having the crews leave here this afternoon. We have the utility work along 6th Avenue between Drexel Road and Valencia Road, and the 6-lane widening project that started along Valencia east of Kolb to the west of Houghton Road. Both of those areas are going to have their workers leave here at 6 p.m., so be aware of that as you drive through. Currently about 77 degrees. We'll be dropping down to 67 here at 9. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
Discover luxury at BMW of Tucson, your premier BMW dealership. Explore our extensive inventory, lease specials, and state-of-the-art service. Visit us at the Tucson Auto Mall or at bmwoftucson.com today.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast. Freshen up your morning with Wendy's Breakfast, like a breakfast Baconator, or a grilled sausage breakfast burrito, or even a Honey Buddy. Ready for a fresh wake-up call? Gotta be Wendy's. At participating U.S. Wendy's.
If you can't be at the game, then you should be at Dave & Buster's. It's the best place to eat, watch, drink, and play. Watch your favorite team throughout the entire tournament. Take a walk on the $1 Million Midway where you can play the biggest and newest arcade games. So when your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's. Watch all the sports you want. They have massive HD TVs, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Accidents cause hassles as big as the Grand Canyon.
So we're hitting the road to spread the word about the bird.
The Eagle at Goldberg and Osborne.
Freeway fiasco in Flagstaff.
Hurt in Havasu.
Totaled in Tucson.
No worries. The Eagle has offices across the state. From Kingman
to Sierra Vista, where they fight hard to get you more.
So relax and ride on.
Because the bird is the word.
Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THEEAGLE.com.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
And now, a Progressive ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big with Progressive. This has been a Progressive ad from Progressive. See if you could save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE or Progressive.com.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
We are your home for all things Arizona basketball. 3 hours of pregame.
They're not going to finish the season 19-1, guys.
2 hours of postgame.
I guarantee you, Coach told the guys don't come over and help on him.
And all the action in between. Wildcats Radio 1290.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Most plumbing problems start with a 4-letter word: drip, leak, clog. Whatever your plumbing problem might be, you can trust Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing to deliver fast, honest, and reliable service by a plumbing expert that will find the right solution for your plumbing problems. Call us at 520-492-0748 or PicturoxCooling.com.
Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. No one is talking Roadrunners, Sugar Skulls, and FC Tucson like us. We are Southern Arizona's #1 sports station. Wildcats Radio 1290.